Yo, what's up? We just getting the live set up. Appreciate you guys already coming in. So today we got a virtual pay-per-view undercard announcement for the Canelo-Munguia card. So, like I said, guys, just chillax a little bit. I'm just getting the stream set up, and we're gonna do something a little different. I want you guys to be actually involved with this virtual Zoom versus us just throwing it up and just putting their face up there. So it's a little different, guys. Ryan 1400. How do I speak Canelo's language? Because it's not Spanish. It's something like quack, quack, quack. Oh my God. Good afternoon. Yeah, we're gonna wait probably 3 minutes till we get all you guys in here. Get a good seat in the house, as always. New York Bullet, what's up, man? What's up, man? Appreciate you coming in here. Everyone that's just jumping in right now, we're just starting up the live. We're just getting this going. We'll do something a little different. But we will be posting, I guess kind of hosting, right? Showing the Canelo Alvarez and Munguia explosive undercard. Again, we're gonna go in details. We're gonna have a live Zoom with all the fighters at the courtesy of PBC. And we get some questions in with these guys. But I want you guys involved in this. TKO, hi. What's up, man? Welcome. We're gonna start this in 2 minutes. Maidana is back from retirement. Luis Martinez. Question mark? I can answer that question in about 1 minute. We're just getting it all started up. If you guys need to go get some snacks, make some coffee, you're just waking up, depending on what time zone you guys are in, right? If you're on your lunch break or about to be on your lunch break, go into your lunch line and get your food. We're gonna have some boxing talk as always here at FightHype. Today's the press conference, checkmate. Today's going to be the virtual press conference of Canelo Alvarez and Munguia's undercard. And why Bullet? Why you gotta be the spoiler, man? I said I wouldn't tell him in 1 minute, man. I was going to tell him in a minute, man. Gotta build the suspense. No, I appreciate New York for clarity for him. All right. I was about to say, when is Tank and Frank an official thing? We don't know. Hasn't been officially out. Hasn't been. Munguia all the way. Antonio, what's up, man? All right. Cool. We got about 100 people that just came in. Appreciate you guys. So I'm just going to start this out and get this going. All right. What's going on, everybody? My name is Ron Goodall, FightHype.com, one of the many guys that do boxing coverage here, and we're gonna do something a little different today, right? So normally, let's check it out. Normally we do the virtual Zooms, right? We get a Zoom call from the promoter with all the fighters, and we just post it up and run a chat. But in this instance, what I want to do is actually kind of have like an interactive show with you guys, then post it, And then maybe you guys can ask me some solid questions, and maybe I can sneak one or two in with the fighters, right? So I'm probably gonna have vanilla questions, right? But if there's anything intriguing we can collectively, as boxing fans, want to know, that we can all agree that's a good question, I'm gonna hit that button and I'll ask the question for you guys, right? A little bit different, right? A little bit more fun, get you guys a little bit closer to them. So let's just move to my infamous dope layout. All right, so let me catch up with the chat. All right, we're gonna break down the undercard a little bit right before the Zoom, so in case if you don't know who's fighting, why they fighting, why is it significant, or maybe we're just critical, maybe we don't like it. All right, so all right, let me see, where can I get my chat a little broken? Give me 1 second. Let me get the chat going. How about the YouTube chat? Clear. Did my thing just break? I think it just possibly just messed up. Let's try this. Yep. All right. I might not have the chat up here for a second, but I'm just gonna read your guys' chat and go from here. So, all right. Dwayne, Canelo's the face of boxing. I mean, Canelo is one of the faces. Probably still the face, right? Tank hasn't eclipsed that, right? We can safely say maybe Canelo's the face, right? Or is it Gervonta Davis? New York Bullet, oh, my bad, champ. My bad. You gotta be a spoiler, man. Salute, NY Bullet, I see you on TBV. Joe Oliver was good. Rick was good. What's good, everybody? Antonio. Vamos. Jaime Munguia. Hi, brother from Oregon. Oh, you from Oregon? That's what's up. Who you got in the fight between Canelo and Munguia? I got Canelo, right? Canelo's fought at a bigger weight class. He's fought better opposition. But what is impressive, though, is Jaime Munguia was able to get out John Ryder when Canelo couldn't, right? But you can say the same thing about, what was it? They both fought Liam Smith. Yeah, Canelo was able to get Liam Smith out, so. Krunken, virtual, yeah, I'm out. I'm sorry, bro. I mean, unless you didn't think this was virtual too, right? It's Inception, virtual, right? Where should Jesus Ramos go from here? I would love the Lubin rematch, but maybe Jesus Ramos could fight Sergey Buyachek, right? Sergey Buyachek or Brian Mendoza, right? That would be a good fight. So just giving everyone a heads up, in 16 minutes, right? So I just started this a little earlier. 16 minutes, we're gonna have the virtual press conference. That's gonna include the undercard. And we're gonna try to get some questions in, interact, and I'm gonna pull up their box rec and kind of explain who's on the undercard if you don't know. So, Kayla, what's up, Kayla? What's going on, man? Whether you admit it, Canelo's the face, Luis Martinez. You know what? I think Canelo is still the face until we see Tank have more consistent. Like, the Ryan Garcia was huge, but maybe we could just right now just safely say Canelo's the face of boxing. Sean Combs, oh man, we got Diddy in the chat. He should fight Crawford next and Benavidez, the Jake Paul for the last payout and retire. That's a gangster ass lineup. I mean, all right. Yo, what's up? Shout out to my boy Alex in the chat. Yo, Boxeo, my bad. Saludos FightHype. What's up, man? Canelo, no. Thumbs down, he's a chicken. Do you think this is a one-sided fight? I think it'll be an interesting first half, maybe. I don't think it's gonna be one-sided. I think we're gonna have glimpses of Munguia maybe getting off. But depends, right? If Canelo hurts, Munguia is done, right? So it depends on how fast Canelo can actually put together some damage. Canelo's going to win this fight, I agree. Ramos beat Mendoza already. Oh yeah, you're right. He was the first one. Yeah, you're right. Silly me. So I don't know. Then maybe let's get the Sergey Borychek fight together, right? Roy 1400. Hey Lewis, how does Canelo feel to be one of the leading causes of boxing failing numbers by not giving consumers what they want? I wouldn't just say Canelo, but since he is the face, you know, the face does impact the sport, right? So if the face is not delivering the fights that we kind of want, it can affect it. But there's a lot of great fighters, man. That's just boxing. Boxing just has waves, right? We always have lows in every sport. So like even basketball, when Michael Jordan retired, if they didn't have someone in between like a Kobe Bryant or something, they had low dips in ratings. So the face is scared, man. Scared of Benavidez. Roy 1400. Our face is not giving us the fight we want, so I'm streaming this one. No one asked for Munguia. Yeah. It's an interesting fight, but we all boxing fans know we wanted a David Benavidez fight, so that's the only one that kind of matters. Jose Rivera, man, I miss Sean. Well, he has a YouTube channel. You can go over there. It's gonna be underneath Sean Zattel. So, but I appreciate you being in here, right? Roy. He is going to fight Benavidez. He's being smart about the payday. Of course he is, right? Luis Martinez, exactly. And all right, cool. Let me just pull up the box right. What we're gonna do. And let me see. All right, cool. Let me pull up the box right. And we're gonna go dissect this undercard real quick right before they go live, so that we can just kind of do a little bit of dissecting. All right, cool. So on this undercard for Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia, the virtual starts in about 12 minutes. We got Brandon Figueroa versus Jesse Magdaleno for the WBC Interim World Featherweight title. Then we also have Mario Barrios, who's going to be defending his WBC Interim title that he won off of Yordenis Ugas against not Marcos Maidana, right? But he's going to be facing his brother Fabian Maidana, all right? We got Stanionis, who was supposed to fight Keith Thurman, and he's fighting Gabriel. I don't want to butcher it, but Mastre. Now, it seems deceptive, right? You're like, oh, I may have never heard of this guy, right? He's a 6-0 guy with one draw. His draw is against an undefeated Canadian. But this is what I want you guys to understand and highlight right here. He has Devin Alexander. He has a total of 7 fights. And he's already kind of like a highly ranked top 30 welterweight, right? His age is 37. But one thing I want to point out is that this guy's been an Olympian for two times, right? 2012 and 2016. This guy right here also has a history of not just competing against a lot of top amateurs, but also Stanionis is himself, right? So this is actually a professional rematch with a 2-time Olympian. So, and he's also made Devin Alexander, I don't want to say quit, but he didn't come out the corner after 3 rounds. Yes, Devin Alexander's past his prime, but at the end of the day, this guy is kind of like a David Morrell, Lomachenko-esque kind of fighter. So that's my best way of selling him as an opponent, right? So now Mario Barrios, we also just seen Gustavo Lemos, who deceptively snuck in and fought Richardson Hitchens, which many people who didn't really know, right? And we also know that Argentinians always come in the fight, right? So at that point, this could be maybe an underdog sleeper of an opponent, of a fighter, you know, being related to Marcos Maidana, and Argentines always coming. This may be a potential hidden banger. And then obviously, we got Brandon Figueroa, who had a very close, very close fight with Stephen Fulton. And he's going to be taking on Jesse Magdaleno for the WBC Interim title, who Jesse Magdaleno has only lost to Dog Bay and Raymond Ford, which both became world champions, right? And him being a former world champion fighting Nonito Donaire. So, all right, so that's just kind of the undercard, and we're going to start that virtual in 10 minutes. And so I'm going to switch right back, and I'm going to get back to the chat. But what do you guys think? Is this a pay-per-view undercard for Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia? Did you want a little bit more like Duran Ennis And Cody Crowley is what people were suspecting, right, on this undercard. But either or, a lot of this is gonna be a good fight. So let me I don't know why this chat's not working. I'm gonna pop this out. A little bit more. All right, give me 1 second. All right, I can get this chat to work one more time. Pop out chat. There we go. I got the chat to work now. All right. Appreciate you guys' patience. We always get these quick little technical issues. All right. Where was it? All right. Edits 2 times. This is what I remember the last one I saw. Did you hear Bomac dating Bud gonna beat Canelo worse than Spence? What do you mean by that? I don't understand that. Bomac dating Bud gonna beat Canelo worse than Spence? Are you saying that Bomac and Bud's gonna beat Canelo worse than Spence? It's a tough fight. It's my first time on the chat out of Memphis tonight. I'm digging it. I'm on the tube and more often. Yo, I appreciate it, Joe. All right. So for a lot of people that's coming in, all right, it's gonna be a repetitive question. I'm obviously not, be asked. Is that FightHype is obviously the platform. We have a lot of interviews, right? And so there's been a lot of rumbles and changes that you've heard. And so at the point of kind of just quick sweeping, obviously heard that someone has departed, right? So that person is departed on his own terms. No one's been fired. And he started his own channel, right? And that's simply Sean. So if you guys want to support Sean, you guys know he has a Twitter. Feel free to go out and reach out to him and things like that. With that, we have a lot of people over here at FightHype that cover the sport of boxing. Ben Thompson, who started this channel way back from, I think one of the first events on this channel was like Kelly Pavlik and Jermaine Taylor, things like that. So we're gonna have a lot of our reporters kind of coming up, doing our thing on here, and then more importantly, just trying to interact with you guys with creating more of these kind of more interactive segments, right? So we have the virtual press conference, 7 minutes. I'm gonna run down the chat, and yeah, there you go. So if anytime anyone comes in and want to have a question, just tell them to rewind back at this time mark, right? So this is my first time. So I appreciate you, Joe. Stop calling the Ecuadorian the Mexican monster. I mean, that's what Mike Tyson called him, right? Mike Tyson called him. Franklin Grove Street says trash. Do not like this card, right? Did you hear Bomac saying Bud's gonna? Oh yeah. I was around Bomac when he said that, and as he should, right? Terrence Crawford is a pound for pound fighter, right? So at the end of the day, you're supposed to feel confident about your fighter like that. Face of boxing is cherry picking. Uno Munoz. Look, I'm with you. In a sense that I don't want to say he's cherry picking because it's boxing, right? You always got to maximize your opportunities. And going straight into David Benavidez is not a fight that poses the most easiest time, right? So I think the Jaime Munguia and maybe if he fights Edgar Berlanga, it's just fights that he's going to get in between. But we also David Benavidez at the Richardson Hitchens fight, so maybe that might speed things up, right? When you see a fighter that's inebriated on, a broadcast program, you automatically sit there and question, is this guy as dangerous? Is he focused, right? Is he in the right mindset to fight Canelo Alvarez? So you just put question marks on it. But I agree. I don't want to see Canelo fight anyone else, outside of David Benavidez and maybe Terrence, right? But only because of the simple fact that that's just a fight that I don't know, maybe might sell, right? And I do like covering events, right? So I don't know if is that an event? The only reason some people will buy Canelo pay-per-view fight is because people want to see other fights like Mario Barrios. Nobody wants to see a boring fight. Canelo is done and he's an old man. Oh, wow. Luis Martinez Roy, I don't think he will get that amount, but he will get a huge payday. I mean, Canelo says he 150 and 200 million for the David Benavidez fight. Duck Benavidez. I got Munguia, the real Mexican. Hey, are you locked in? Munguia? Is Munguia the one that's gonna put on for Mexican culture, right? So I feel like Canelo's been getting a lot of criticism because he's not fighting David Benavidez. Do you think that's fair to, I guess, not state that he's not the real Mexican, right? But either or, May 4th we got the fight, so we got Munguia and Canelo, right? He will have to fight him for less. Barrios versus Boots. That was a fight that I actually interviewed Mario Barrios about. And Mario said he would be totally down to entertain that fight. But now we know Boots is with Matchroom, so the fight is probably not going to likely happen anytime soon. He will fight him for less. I'm a bigger fan than Canelo fan. That's why I want the best to fight the best to get boxing ratings up. I agree. And Canelo David Benavidez might arguably be in the top 2, top 3 biggest fights in boxing to be made, right? You got Canelo versus David Benavidez. Would you put Gervonta Tank Davis and Devin Haney there? And then, yeah, those might be the 2 biggest fights, right? Boots is amazing. I agree. Boots is absolutely amazing. I understand where Mr. Quake, here we go. But what's up, Mr. Quake? I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the compliment. Boxing range going up, more money, so we can get mega fights often. Kind of weak though. Respect to Brandon, Magdalena, but it shouldn't be on the co-main, right? I am a little upset that we couldn't get Drawn Ennis as the co-main, right? I definitely believe that. I wish we had Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia and then Drawn Ennis, right? I hope Duke Micah gets back up. You know, Duke Micah was one of the first people when I was covering boxing when I lived in New York. And so Duke Micah definitely had a tough fight, tough career path, right? Probably should reach out and check up on him. This clown said everyone buying the Canelo fight to see Barrios only. Oh man. Oh man. All right, so check it out. I know this is like a UFC rumble in here, right? Right before the Zoom starts in about 2 minutes. It is called FightHype, right? So FightHype, we cover everything, right? So we covered UFC, we have covered bare knuckle boxing. We've had some wrestling. So collectively, we're mostly known for boxing, right? But ironically, tomorrow I will be at Nate Diaz, or would it be Masvidal? Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. They're doing their first boxing press conference here in Vegas, and they're gonna do rewind. They're gonna do a 4-day press tour. But I've actually covered Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal in New York when it was Canelo versus Sergey Kovalev. So we're gonna cover everything, right? We're gonna cover everything. We don't discriminate on fighting, and I might even do a live fight chat on the UFC 300 while doing the Jarrett Anderson undercard and the main event. So, Quake, you gonna watch the Tyson Paul? I think we're gonna do maybe a live chat for that. So, I normally would go to some of these events. I've been to like 5 Jake Paul events, but I got a newborn, so I'm gonna spend a little time traveling less and just stay in Vegas a little bit more. So, but I'm good, Ron. How's the family? Family's good. So I'm gonna speed through the chat, and then I'm gonna pull up the Zoom. Crawford won't last 8 rounds. Canelo haters, man, ain't no one watching this fight. Crawford versus Canelo will be an interesting fight. UFC 300 is gonna be a banger. I'm gonna be watching it, Quake. We're probably gonna do a live chat for that. Yo, big drama show. What up, Eric Cruz? Damn, that's the name I have not heard for a long time. Appreciate you supporting me, my guy. It was that way back then. I'm 26, but I know fighters back then fought anytime, any day. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, mega fights. Yeah. This is a boxing chat, not UFC. GTFO. Nah, man. Right now we're talking about boxing, but you can talk about UFC, man. You can talk about whatever you want, really. Just keep it peaceful, no racist stuff, no sexist stuff. So, all right. I thought this guy was a virgin the whole time. Jose Hernandez. I'm in my like chill, I don't care state, man. So when I was younger, you know, I was all cool. I was all fly. I had the whole hats, the whole, you know. I used to be a DJ actually back in the day. So, but I actually like my chill, nerdy state. But I appreciate you, you know, rocking with me, right? I'm trying to be polite, right? You want me to be a savage on here? You want me to talk all greasy to chat? Like, what's up, man? Nah, man, but... All right, let's get this Zoom going, man. All right. All right. Let's see. Let's get the zoom. Pop this. All right, display capture. Desktop. I'll keep the music going. Cool. All right, so the zoom hasn't started yet. So this is what I want to do. I want to give you guys a little background on what we do, right? So what we're specifically doing is I get an email, and at this point, we just sign up, put our little credentials online, and we just sit and wait in Zoom. And depending on if they can get everyone online, this is why sometimes we look unprofessional, like if we do a live or something like that. And it's not faulting the people who's hosting, right? I'm not saying, but sometimes gathering, 6 fighters from 6 different places, they might run a little bit late. So if you guys are just coming in, we're doing a virtual Zoom, and at this point, we're just waiting. So once this starts, it pops up. But I'm gonna just go back to the chat until then. I'm just gonna kick it. All right, Mr. Quaid, Bronx. I lived in Brooklyn for a little bit. My family's from Queens, my dad's side. Canelo's milking his fan base for every penny. Marcus B. I mean, that's a little bit of boxing, right? You gotta maximize, like Samson told me. You gotta maximize for your fighter before you put him in the tough fights. William, good day for Washington State. I respect all fighters, MMA, boxers, etc. Yep. He's always milking the haters too. Oh, I mean, look, boxing is either watch them and want to see him win or watch to see him lose. Heck, even WWF too. Yeah, we've done that. Yeah, let's do it. How best to humble yourself? Good man. Crawford's killing boxing like Joe killed hip hop. Yo, what up, angry casual fan? All right. I don't know how much of you guys are hip hop fans. I'm a huge hip hop fan, right? Hence the little vibe with some of the hip hop music in the back. So I was born in 1990. I grew up on like Pac and Nas and Big L and Gang Starr and DJ Premier and things like that, which led me to like wanting to actually get into hip hop. And then I later became a DJ. So I love the competitive spirit of hip hop. So I understand the detriment of the Pac and Biggie beef. I understand the Jay-Z and Nas. I understand the Ja Rule and 50, the Eminem and Bazino. I understand the DMX, all those type of beefs back then, right? We're in an era that everyone has evolved, right? And they understand that they can coexist, they can collab, it doesn't have to be personal, and we learn from that, right? So I do understand that confrontation in hip hop has not always been good. But I love the lyrical battle state, or just when you see a song that says like Jay-Z featuring Kanye and Drake and all that, the first thing you think as a purist hip hop fan from the 90s or the 80s, right, is that who got the best verse, right? Not saying that they all can kill it, but you automatically sit there and go, who had the best verse on the track, even though they're politely coexisting. That's all we want, right? So a little bit of verbal back and forth, doesn't have to get personal, but you want to flex your ability, right? So Kendrick did the Control verse, right? He talked about like 10, 15 people, nothing bad came about it. This is like Control verse 2.0, where it just comes down to the top 3 guys. We have now eliminated and cleared out the division, essentially. And now this is the pound for pound top 3, 4 guys in hip hop. So as a hip hop fan, all we want is just guys to, show why they are the best, right? And so it is a little disappointing as a hip hop fan, and I'm not saying J. Cole killed hip hop, but you kind of wanted to see him kind of step up and take this challenge, which he first did. But the apology kind of turned into more of like, I don't know. If I could interview J. Cole, right? These are obviously questions that he'll be asked one day in a setting, just like how I have access to interview boxers, right? Kind of the same thing, right? I'm just not in that industry. So hopefully someone can go up there and do their job and ask questions why and what's the reason behind it, because he sees the messages, right? And we just wanted to see Drake, J. Cole, and Kendrick just kind of give us fans in hip hop to see why what we thought were the top big 3 and maybe who we thought was the best guy out of the 3 a reason to believe that. So I think J. Cole, by doing this, kind of have naturally took that competitive side, which led to just a Kendrick Drake debate. So, but I don't know. What do you guys think, right? But Marcus B, Canelo don't care about fighting the best. He's doing it for money. Everyone does it for money, really, right? If a lot of these kids did it for boxing and amateurs. Once you start winning a world title, become undisputed, you have to make it about money, right? But it has to make sense, money and legacy. Nobody has a better resume than Canelo in the sport, not even close, clowns. Canelo probably has, if not the best resume in boxing. So, but that's subjective. And I think Canelo warrants one of those spots. I agree, KB, Mexican fan base are not cheap. They have the money to spend and support their fighters. Mexican fans are not cheap, not at all. They definitely are a huge instrumental part of boxing. So do not use that rhetoric that if you think that fan base is cheap. They are one of the most important fan bases in boxing. J. Cole did not kill hip-hop, I agree. Canelo has the haters watching his fights more than their favorite fight. Like I said, chat, this does not make it too much about race. Obviously, boxing has race involved. We already know that there's a dark history behind all industries. Boxing specifically, yes. So for the most part, let's just keep the chat mostly about just boxing, right? And yeah, if you disagree on if you like a fight or not, that's perfectly fine. You feel like a fighter is ducking, that's fine. Like, those type of conversations are strictly boxing. Luis Martinez, talked to him. How did the best welterweight in the world kill boxing? I mean, I think some of the people feel that because he's in a position to pick and choose, fights. A lot of fighters want to see him fight maybe like John Ennis, right? Or a Keith Thurman, or probably not the most ideal to go Keith Thurman, but either or. When you're in the position to make the big fights or better fights, the expectation is on the onus of you, right? So I think that's what they meant. And because certain fights haven't been made or it's been some time, they feel that Crawford has not delivered. And the best fight in welterweight is probably Crawford and Boots, right? So Jose, he does not know what he's stating. Angry casual fan, no top rapper ever turned down a battle. Not even Nelly and Ja Rule. Oh my God, see, a hip hop fan, right? You just want that. But at the same time, Nelly had a bigger fan base and was able to avoid any real KRS-One smoke. And Ja Rule, I mean, you know what happened to his career, right? Eminem's the rap god. Angry fan, all J. Cole did was apologize. I mean, J. Cole's entitled to do what he does, and this is just our bloodthirst for a hip-hop battle amongst the big three, right? Mr. Quake, you're a DJ, that's dope. I appreciate it. Yeah, maybe one day I'll pull out some of my my cooler side, right? Because everyone probably thinks I'm just this big nerd just chilling. And it's cool. I actually like being associated as a nerd, right? Not trying to pretend I'm something I'm not. Jadakiss apologized after beefing with Beanie Siegel, so that's true. But then you could say Jay-Z apologized to Nas after, right? So J. Cole is a hip-hop savior, survivor in the post-mumble era. I agree. J. Cole is like that guy that jumped out of the ring. Oh my goodness. As well as thoughts on Toonami, like that Toonami anime. Yo, we all grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, dude. Anyone in this chat that did not watch Dragon Ball Z is lying to themselves. So I respect Ronda, but he's too cocky. Cole Kendrick beef, no violence, and stupidity. So everyone who's just coming in right now, we're just waiting for the virtual Zoom to start. You can see right there, it's 10 minutes behind. So once it starts, we'll get back to boxing. So we're just in here, just kicking it, chilling. If you're on your lunch break, just vibe out. He's old school fighting more than these young bucks. African boxers get no respect, but it's no surprise. There's a dark history about African American fighters not getting the shot way back in the day. But we're evolving, right? We moved from that point. We'll just keep it that at this point, we're not talking about the best fighting the best. 2010s killed hip hop or stupidity. Sorry, Ron. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of 2010 hip hop era. But then you can also say like we wouldn't have gotten Kendrick and J. Cole and etc. We had no personality. And that is not true. You said no top rapper MC turned down a battle. Eminem himself has stated he does not diss everyone because he feels that it's worthless. I agree. I mean, it's kind of like, I'm not going to give these guys shine, right? That's kind of what it is. Like, do I give this person attention when I should just focus on my career, right? Is it a battle worth it? But yeah, Eminem has turned stuff down. But Eminem has battled at least Bazzino, Cannabis, Ja Rule. I mean, what is Eminem's best opponent, though? You think Eminem has actually had a legitimate back and forth with a top MC? Crawford Boots is fire. I agree. That's a fight I don't think we'll ever get. 90s and 2000s was special. 80s and 90s was the golden era. 2 years ago, Crawford's fight, David Avernishin. Now he's too good for Boots. I always feel that I wish we got Terrence versus Boots, but Terrence is looking at the bigger picture, and if there's a more marketable money fight out there, he's gonna go for that. Right? Or a money marketable fight that adds to legacy. MGK pop punk revival. Oh man. No more humble rap or mumble rap. I had a DJ down at DC and a bullet skin. Oh, that's dope. What's the equipment I use? Oh, all right.
Recording in progress.
Promotions will present a showdown between
we got the Zoom,
Mexican
so we're gonna
superstars as pound for pound great Canelo Alvarez puts his undisputed super middleweight championship of the world on the line against unbeaten all-action former world champion in Jaime Munguia. The 12-round matchup headlines a PBC pay-per-view event on Prime Video that comes your way on Saturday, May 4th from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Recently, we announced the lineup of all-action pay-per-view undercard matchups. 4 world championship fights on the card. It is absolutely stacked from top to bottom. It starts at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific time. Our co-main event will be for the interim WBC welterweight championship. Mario Barrios defends his title against a very determined Argentinian in Fabian Maidana. Then it'll be for the interim WBC featherweight championship. Before that, it'll be Brandon Figueroa matching up and putting his title on the line against Jesse Magdaleno. To open up the pay-per-view, it'll be for the WBA welterweight championship. A Montes Stanionis will defend his crown against the very determined Venezuelan in Gabriel Maestre. In addition to the pay-per-view being available for purchase on Prime Video, regardless of Prime membership, fans will also be able to purchase the pay-per-view via DAZN.com. On top of these options, fans will continue to be able to access the telecast through traditional cable and satellite outlets as well as payperview.com. That is PPV.com. The event promoted by Canelo Promotions in association, along with TGB Promotions, in association with Golden Boy Promotions and Zanfer Boxing Promotions. Tickets are on sale and available at AXS.com. You do not want to miss this card. 4 world championship fights coming your way on Saturday, May 4th, as we celebrate Mexican Independence Day weekend. First off, we want to mention one of the gentlemen that'll be involved in our first fight on the pay-per-view. His record, 6 wins, no losses, 1 draw. 5 wins coming by way of knockout, a 2-time Olympian out of Venezuela. He blasted out the former unbeaten rising prospect Trayvon Marshall in round 2 last August out on the East Coast. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gabriel Maestre. Gabriel, unas palabras, por favor.
Bueno, muy contento por la entrevista y por esta gran oportunidad de pelear por el título mundial en esta cartelera de Canelo versus Munguia. De verdad que contento y nada, enfocado. Estamos teniendo un buen campamento y bueno, nada, para dar todo por el todo ese día, el 4 de mayo.
I'm very glad that I am here in front of all of you in the media. Very happy to be a part of this great card of Canelo and Munguia, historic. And, you know, I'm also feeling really good because I had a great training camp, very focused, very on point, and I can't wait to show you guys what I'm all about.
Thank you very much, Martin Bater, our outstanding translator, as always. Now we want to welcome in the champion, a 2016 Olympian, represented his native Lithuania, now training in Los Angeles, earned his title with a hard-fought decision win over the previously unbeaten Radza Butaya back in April of 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the undefeated champion, Eimantas Stanionis. Eimantas?
Hello.
Can you give us some opening comments on how you're feeling?
It's been a long time, I'm very happy to be back in the ring. It feels amazing and fighting on Cinco de Mayo on the big card. It's amazing. I can't express the feeling how I feel. It's going to be a great fight. I know Maestra, so it's going to be fireworks.
How hard have you been working so that there isn't ring rust that you have when you enter your world championship defense against Gabriel Maestre?
I don't think I will have some ring rust because I'm living the life of as an athlete. Every day I was training. I'm very disciplined fighter, so it will be no different. I'm in really good shape. I was from every day I could fight in 6 weeks. I just was waiting for the call. So now here we are.
Gabriel, for you, how would you assess, Eimantas Stanionis? He's undefeated. He's very aggressive. It comes from, he's an Olympian just like you, quite accomplished. But, how would you preview the champion, Eimantas Stanionis?
Gabriel, Stanionis es un atleta olímpico tal y como vos lo sos, y además, y él obviamente viene con el pedigrí de campeonato. ¿Cómo palpitarías vos lo que va a ser tu pelea contra Stanionis?
Sí, yo sé que él estuvo en los Juegos Olímpicos de Río en el 2016. Bueno, estuvimos los dos juntos y nada, nosotros nos conocemos. Él me conoce a mí, yo lo conozco a él. Peleamos en el Mundial de Qatar en el 2015. Él sabe que fue una pelea muy, muy dura, muy aguerrida. Ahí, bueno, fue una pelea muy apretada, pero de verdad que contento de pelear con él nuevamente en el ámbito ya profesional. De verdad que yo sé que, bueno, que es el campeón, que ha estado muy bien en todas sus peleas, pero bueno, vamos a ver qué pasa el 4 de mayo. Yo estoy feliz, de verdad que contento de pelear con él. Ya hace unos años atrás yo quería pelear con él y bueno, ya nada, Dios ya metió su mano y para mí es un privilegio.
It is truly a privilege to fight against Stanionis. He's a champion, and I respect him a lot. I have been looking for this fight for a long time now. Funny how things come full circle. Keep in mind that, like you said, he's an Olympian. We were together at the Olympics in Rio in 2016. And before that, we had a really, really tough, close fight at the Qatar World Cup back in 2015. So it's been worth the wait, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Stanionis has now, almost a decade later.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to Andrew Roberts, a member of our esteemed PR team. If you have questions, make sure to raise your hand. When we call upon you, come out with your question and mention your media outlet. Andrew, it is all you, my friend.
Thanks very much, Ray. Our first media question today will come from Keith Idek. Keith, please unmute yourself and you can ask your questions. And sorry, Keith, before you start, if we could please limit it to one question per fighter, per media member. It'll allow us to get to everyone. Go ahead, Keith.
Thanks, Andrew. My first question is for Eimantas. Eimantas, can you just explain to us how frustrating it's been for you? You won't have fought for 2 years by the time you get into the ring on May 4th. Can you explain how frustrating it was for you to go through those cancellations with Virgil Ortiz and how it affected your career and your life?
Hello, yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was really hard times, it was like, what's going on, I just, what I want is just fight, and I couldn't get a date. So they said next month, and it's almost a year that the next month, So it was hard, but I stayed disciplined, always training hard, and I'm living the life like professionally, like really, really hard. I train and I just believe, in faith, and God willing, I'll get the fight on May 4th. It's not yet, I'm not in the ring, so I'll be happy when I will step in the ring.
Okay, thank you very much. I have also a question for Gabriel Maestre. Can you ask Martin what he remembers from the fight against Stanionis. What was the official result? How the fight went? And was that the only time that they fought as amateurs?
Okay, so to recap then what he remembers, then what was the result of the fight, and then his thoughts on how it developed.
No, have they fought? Was that the only time that they fought?
Oh, was that the only time that they fought? Okay. Bueno, primero que nada, esta fue la única vez que peleaste contra Stanionis aquella vez en Qatar.
Sí, fue la primera vez que me encontré con él en Qatar. Sí, la primera vez que peleamos en los Juegos Olímpicos de Río. No pudimos conseguir, ya que, bueno, él perdió, creo que la primera pelea y no pudo avanzar. Y yo gané la primera pelea y seguí avanzando a mis otras peleas.
Okay, so we'll do this in parts, that way everyone can get the answer from each thing. The first part is that yes, it's the only time that we fought, because in the Rio Olympics, if I don't remember mistakenly, he lost in the first fight and I continued advancing. So we didn't get the chance to fight in Rio, and then we didn't get to fight in the pro. So I'm truly looking forward to getting the chance now to measure up against him once again. ¿Te acordás el resultado final de la pelea? ¿Cuál fue? ¿Cómo fue el...
Fue dividida, fue una pelea muy reñida, pues a cualquiera de los dos que le fueran alzado la mano, bueno, era el ganador. Bueno, se lanzaron a él, pero fue una pelea muy dura, y él lo sabe.
¿Te acordás el puntaje que dijeron los jueces?
3-2, como que fue.
It was a 3-2 split decision, and then the third one, Kid, could you please remind me the third part? Kid?
He lost the fight, right?
Yeah, he lost the fight 3-2 split decision. Yes. And what was the third thing?
And what weight was it at?
¿En qué división fue? ¿Qué peso?
69 kilogramos.
69 kilograms.
Okay, and it was at the Qatar Cup. Is that what he said? I just want to make sure.
Qatar World Cup, but not the soccer one in 2022. The 2015 boxing World Cup.
Okay, thank you very much, Martin. Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks, Keith. Our next question is going to come from Ron Goodall with FightHype. Ron, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys taking the time to do this. My question's for both. Obviously, they're going to be fighting for the WBA. Mario Barrios will be defending his title. Is the ultimate goal to unify the titles with the winner of Mario Barrios, or maybe look at like a drawn Ennis in the future?
It's for both of them. Who do you want to start?
Either or, for both.
Okay, Imantes, go ahead, start.
Okay. Yeah, I think unification makes sense, white, and then go to get another titles. So yeah, I think unification with Barrios will be great, or Maidana.
Okay, que entonces la pregunta, Gabriel, es, considerando que Barrios y Maidana van a estar peleando en el evento coesteral también, ¿cuál sería el objetivo si ganás esta pelea? ¿Sería unificar? ¿Irías en busca de Barrios o Maidana? ¿O quizás considerarías a Butch Ennis como posible rival a futuro?
Mira, bueno, sí, mi meta es unificar, de verdad. Ese es uno de mis sueños. Esto es un sueño de todo boxeador. Cuando te vas cuando estás en amateur, bueno, tu sueño es ser olímpico, medallista olímpico, y cuando saltas de profesional, nada, ser campeón mundial y unificar. Y claro, con los mejores, con Stanionis, o bueno, tal vez entre la pelea de Maidana y Mario Barrios también, ya que ellos van por un título de la WBC, y nada, unificar, esa es la meta.
Absolutely, unification is the goal, and not only that, unification is my dream. It's kind of where like you check off boxes of the dreams that you want to come true. First, in the amateurs, you want to be a gold medalist, right, or at least win a medal. Then, as a pro, you want to win a world title, and once you do that, you want to unify, and that's what I plan to do, either against Ennis or against the winner of Barrios against Maidana.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Ron. Our next question is going to come from Dario Nicolas Bess with La Casaca Boxing. Dario, please unmute yourself. You can ask your question.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a question for each boxer. First for Maestre. La edad es solo un número. Lo ha demostrado Barroso, ¿no? Un connacional tuyo, un venezolano, otro venezolano más que hizo locuras en la división. Nos volaste la cabeza, vos particularmente, con la pelea que hiciste contra Trayvon Marshall. Fue muy buena esa pelea. Realmente me sorprendió. ¿Qué significa, obviamente, ir ante un segundo invicto consecutivo? Y encima, yo me estoy enterando de esto ahora también. Esto es una revancha, entonces. No es la primera vez que se cruzan. Esto es una revancha.
Así mismo es, así mismo es. Bueno, como tú bien lo dijiste, le dejo un número y ahí tenemos a mi compatriota Ismael Barroso, que bueno, que muchos jugadores le andan huyendo, no sé por qué. Debe ser que debe pegar duro, de verdad. Y nada, sí, ya yo había peleado con Stanionis en amateur en el 2015, en el Mundial de Qatar. Y nada, y contento ahora que, bueno, nos vamos a encontrar. Y sí, el año pasado tuve una prueba contra Von Marshall y bueno, ahí está, ahí dimos el resultado. Y por eso es que estamos ahorita en espera de esta pelea con Stanionis. De verdad que yo siento y presiento que, bueno, que eso va a ser una gran batalla.
The question was about, his age, whether, what Barroso did inspires him to come out and also shock the world. And then also, like, he was surprised that this was a rematch, he didn't know. So Gabriel was like, you're absolutely right. It's a rematch, 9 years in the making. Can't wait because it's going to be a great battle out there. So, and like you said, age is just a number. What Barroso did was really notable, tip I had to him. And I want to emulate my compatriot now and put Venezuela up high and keep showing what I showed last year against Marshall. Keep advancing, keep progressing.
Gracias, maestre. Thank you, Martin.
Gracias.
For Stanionis, finally we have got a fight going. Sadly, your fights have been postponed over and over, and you're a thrilling fighter to see. It's very sad to see you below the ring. But you have an interesting fight in front of you now. You surprised everyone winning against Butaev last time. It was a great fight, but are you ready to showcase your skills against the doubters more than just Maestre?
Yeah, for sure. Everybody thinks I've been 2 years off, and nobody knows me, nobody remembers me. But on May 4th, I will show that I'm back. And I will put a great performance like I always do. And especially on Cinco de Mayo, you have to come with something special. So I will be prepared.
All right. Thanks, Dario. Our last question for this pair of fighters is going to come from Lance Pugmire with Boxing Scene. Lance, please unmute yourself and you can ask your questions.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Amanis. I just wanted to ask you, just elaborating on the point you just made, your opportunity after this long layoff, I'm sure you've been working to develop your skills, and this is such a sensational card, like you said, Cinco de Mayo. Is this actually like a golden opportunity for you? What should fight fans see about the new and improved version of yourself?
Yeah, I trained very hard, and to be honest, I'm very, very hungry for this fight. I never been so hungry to get a W, and win all my country every day where I go. In my country, everybody asking when I'm fighting every single day. I'm not going to lie, So now we got a fight, we got a date. My country is behind me, everybody's supporting, and I want also to give the fans like a good fight. So I was training and nothing changed, Same me, just getting better every time and improving. That's most important thing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lance. And thank you both, Amatis and Gabriel, for your time. With that, I'll turn it back over to Ray Flores.
All right. Thank you very much to Amatis Stanionis and Gabriel Maestre. We wish them all the best of luck, and we look forward to seeing them both during Fight Week in Las Vegas. Now we will transition to our next pay-per-view matchup. This one is for the interim WBC Featherweight Championship of the World. First of all, I want to bring on the challenger. This man with a record of 29 wins, 2 losses, 18 wins coming by way of knockout, a former super bantamweight world champion, earned that title with a decision victory over future Hall of Famer Nonito Donaire. He has been on a stellar run at featherweight. 4-1 is his record here at 126 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a Las Vegas native. Here's the former world champion, Jesse Magdaleno. Jesse, how are you? Here we go. Just unmute yourself, Jesse.
There we go. Hello.
Jesse, how are you feeling heading into your matchup against Brandon Figueroa?
I feel great, man. You know, I've been putting in the work, been staying in the gym, but first and foremost, always got to thank the man above. They got to thank God for, this opportunity. I also want to thank Brandon Figueroa and his team for accepting this fight. And, it's going to be a great show. And also PBC, thank you for, allowing me to be on your guys' platform.
All right, Jesse, we'll come back to you in a few short moments. Now we want to bring on the champion. He earned his title in his last bout in a Fight of the Year candidate against the former world champion Mark Magsayo of the Philippines. Captured the WBC Super Bantamweight Championship with a knockout to defeat Luis Neri, eventually losing the title. A unification matchup against Stephen Fulton that ended in a disputed decision. His record, 24 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 18 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the reigning and defending interim WBC featherweight champion of the world from Weslaco, Texas. We welcome on the heartbreaker, Brandon Figueroa. Brandon, how are you?
Hello?
Yeah, Brandon, how are you?
All right, there you go. Hey, first off, I want to thank God. For blessing me this opportunity. I mean, it's a big fight. I've been waiting for almost, a year. That Rey Vargas fight kept being put back, but now, we're here. Big shout out to Jesse as well, and my team, PBC, you guys, the media. You guys are amazing. So yeah, I'm just blessed and happy to have this opportunity and finally fight. Just how Stanionis was saying that, people were asking him, when are you gonna fight? When are you gonna fight? Same goes here. So I'm just happy and blessed that, the fight's already here and, just getting ready and prepared for it.
Jesse, for you, when it comes to, you have a lot of experience. Brandon also has been in some tough fights, but do you feel that you have the edge and experience over Brandon Figueroa?
I mean, of course, I've been in the ring, a long time. I've been in there with some great fighters. I have a huge amateur, fights as well too. I've been boxing for a long time, and I know Brandon has, been putting his time, his hard work in the sport as well. And I don't overlook anybody. I know everybody comes ready, everybody comes prepared, everybody's hungry, and I'm just ready to get back in there, and show the world what I'm truly about.
What version of Jesse Magdaleno are we going to see on Saturday, May 4th?
I don't know. I got the blonde hair back, and the last time I had the blonde hair, I became world champion. So, I'm just ready, man. I'm just ready to get back in there, and just to show everybody what I'm about. Like, we're back in my hometown again, and I'm just pleased and very happy to be back in the ring.
All right, Jesse, now we'll talk with the champion, Brandon Figueroa. Brandon, you're no stranger to being involved in Fight of the Year candidates, high contact fights. You love to mix it up and go toe to toe. Because you are younger than Jesse, do you feel like youth is going to, be on your side?
No, I mean, I just think hard work, discipline, dedication, everything that it takes to be at the top of your game and, win these fights. I feel like youth is just a number. It's just whoever wants it more, whoever's hungry, whoever wants to, just go out there and take it. That's what I feel like boxing is. The beauty of boxing is you work your butt off, you go out there, you put everything together, and you come out with the victory.
Do you like the prospect of fighting a guy that's not going to be difficult to find inside that ring? You love to cut off the ring. You like to rip the body. Does it excite you knowing that this guy in Jesse Magdaleno is not going to be too hard to fight on Saturday, May 4th?
I mean, that's a plus. I mean, you guys know I love to mix it up. You guys know I love to get in there and work the body and work the inside game. But like I said, I gotta do what I gotta do to win the fight, to make it look impressive. So I just gotta go out there and see how Jesse's coming and adapt to that and work my way around that. But you know, definitely is gonna be fireworks. That's all I know. It's gonna be a great fight, great show for the fans, and like I'm coming to fight the same way I know he's gonna come to fight. So uh, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be able to mix it up in there. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
All right, right now I'm going to turn it over to Andrew Roberts once again from the media. If you have questions, raise your hand. Let us know what media outlet you're from and ask questions to both Jesse Magdaleno and the champion, Brandon Figueroa. Andrew, it's all you.
All right, thanks very much, Ray. Our first question is going to come from Keith Idek with Premier Boxing Champions. Keith, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Thanks, Andrew. My first question is for Brandon, and it's twofold. Brandon, I was just wondering, because Ray Vargas had a draw with Nick Ball, and there seems to be some interest in a rematch, do you feel that if you beat Jesse next month, that will be your next fight against Ray Vargas, or that you might have to wait longer? And if you do have to wait longer, do you think that a rematch with Stephen Fulton is something that could materialize later this year?
Hey man, I'm like I said, like I've been waiting for Ray Vargas last year, been training for months and months. But like I said, you know, I've been patient. This opportunity came, and I took it. You know, I just said, you know what, let's fight. I've been itching to fight. I've been itching to get back in the ring and give fans a great show. And yeah, man, I mean, whatever. I just want to fight the best of the best. I want to fight the champions. And if Ray Vargas decides he wants to fight later this year, then let's get it. If not, then Stephen Fulton. I mean, I'm just down to fight whoever's down to fight, whoever's down to make amazing, exciting fights, fight of the year candidates. You know, I just want to fight the best of the best. That's always been my goal. That's since day one, and I want to prove not only to myself but to everyone that, you know, I want these fights. I want these big fights. I want these big names, and I want to keep, you know, winning these titles.
Thank you, Brandon. And my question for Jesse, what would it mean? You've been through a lot in your career, obviously. What would it mean for you on May 4th to pull off what would be considered an upset and to become an interim champion and put yourself in a great position?
Man, that'd be great. You know, it's what's been on my mind. It's what has me focused. It's what has me in the gym, you know, working my ass off for this. You know, being a guy like Brandon it's huge, you know, because he comes to fight and he puts a hell of a show each and every time he steps into the ring. And you know, as well as I do, you know, we both like to bang it out. We both like throwing a lot of punches, and we're both heavy hitters. And I just know May 4th, you know, winning the title, winning the WBC title, you know, it's going to be something huge for me. And I'm just excited. I'm excited for this.
Thank you, Jesse.
All right, thanks very much, Keith. Our next question is going to come from Alfredo Sanchez with Telemundo 60. Alfredo, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Yes, Alfredo Sanchez from KRGV, Noticias RGV in the Rio Grande Valley. This is a double question if I'm permitted for Brandon in Spanish. Brandon, primero, felicidades por el regresar al cuadrilátero. ¿Cómo se siente de pelear en una cartelera que está, al igual, pues estás compartiendo cartelera con Canelo Álvarez, un mexicano, un boxeador muy reconocido? ¿Cómo se siente de ser de parte de una pelea de Canelo Álvarez que se llevará a cabo el 4 de mayo?
No, sí, por supuesto. Primeramente, gracias a Dios por esta oportunidad. Me ha bendecido a mí y a mi familia. Sí, estoy muy feliz por esta oportunidad, y yo sé que es una cartelera muy grande. Yo sé que todos mi gente del RGV, de Tamaulipas, de México, van a estar viendo esta pelea, me van a estar apoyando. Estoy bien agradecido por todo lo que me ha dado Dios, y no solamente eso, pero pues gracias a PBC, gracias a todos que hizo esto posible. Estoy listo, estamos listos, estamos entrenando por mucho tiempo ahora, y ahora nada más es tiempo de poner todo junto y pues sí, acabar los últimos detallitos aquí en el campo de entrenamiento para ir a la pelea al 100% y darle a los fans un great show. Estoy no sé cómo describirlo, pero ya estoy muy ansioso para entrar al ring y pues para hacer una buena pelea contra Jesse.
The question was what it means to Brandon to be a part of the Canelo-Munguia card. Brandon, you want to do the same answer but in English?
Yes. Yeah. Just, want to thank God, PBC, everyone that put this together. Great opportunity and blessed for me and my family. I'm just very anxious to get back in the ring, very excited to give fans a great show. I know, it's been a long time since I've gotten back in the ring, but, I'm just happy and blessed to be able to share the ring with Jesse and, give fans a great show. It's going to be all Mexican card, Mexican atmosphere. I already feel it, and I know my people from the RGV 956 back home will be supporting and pushing me on. So I'm grateful for that.
And one more for Brandon, otra vez en español. Brandon, entonces, obviamente se conoce que tuviste que esperar casi un año. La última vez que tuvimos el privilegio de verte en el cuadrilátero fue contra Maxayo, fue en marzo. Entonces, desde ese entonces ha habido una ausencia. ¿Qué tan frustrante se sintió? ¿Qué tan paciente tuviste que estar para finalmente regresar al cuadrilátero? Que ya tenemos establecido la pelea contra Jesse Magdaleno, entonces lo frustrante que fue y lo paciente que tuviste que ser.
No, sí, claro. En este deporte tienes que estar muy paciente. Yo sé que mi tiempo iba a venir. Yo sé que siempre Dios pone todo en tu camino. Nada más era tiempo de, sí, nada más esperarte, tener paciencia, y es algo que yo siempre cargo muy, muy dentro de mí, siempre ser paciente y esperar en los momentos perfectos. Yo sé que a lo mejor en el momento, pues yo sé que sí, ya quería pelear y no, al otro mes, al otro mes, al otro mes, pero siempre tener Dios en la mente, siempre tener la paciencia de seguir trabajando, seguir esperando. Y pues mira, una oportunidad muy grande en la cartelera de Canelo. Es wow, es algo muy emocionante para mí y mi familia. Y pues sí, yo digo que son beneficios y sacrificios que un boxeador tiene que hacer para pues, tener esas oportunidades muy grandes. Sí, yo sé que ha sido mucho tiempo sin pelear, pero aquí estamos listos y con mucha hambre.
The question was about, how he handled the weight of 15 months ever since we saw Brandon fight against Magsayo, how he handled the ring rust and both the psychological and physical part of it. Brandon, in English, if you want to say the same thing, but in English, please.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And yeah, I just had to be patient. I know that, yeah, it's a little frustrating, but, as a boxer, I'm pretty sure every boxer knows that, boxing comes and goes. You may have a fight in a few months, you may not. And I know it's all part of the business, all part of the sport. So sometimes you have to be patient, let God handle all things above you, and let him align what he wants for you in your path. And look, a big card like Canelo is going to be an all Mexican card, and I just couldn't be more happy about that. So it's a big fight, and I'm here for these big fights, and I'm ready for these big fights. So I'm just happy and blessed that May 4th will, finally I get to go out there and do my thing.
All right, perfect. Thank you for those questions, Alfredo. Next up, Lucas Cattell for Boxing Scene. Lucas, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Thank you. I've got a question for both, and it's the same question. What do you see in your opponent, and how do you see the matchup potentially playing out, and what are some of the strengths and weaknesses that you initially see?
Jesse, if you want to start off.
I know Brandon comes to fight. He's a very forward fighter. He comes forward. He throws a lot of punches. He's very he comes in great shape. There's never a doubt where he's not in good shape. So we watch tapes. We watch what he does, and he's a good fighter, and as well as I am, and we come ready. We come ready every time. I don't overlook anybody. Like I said before, we're just here to showcase what we got. I have a lot left in me in my tank, and I know I'm ready for May 4th. It's a big fight. It's a big fight card, and first and foremost, I'm just super excited about this. It's a great fight. It's a great matchup for me, for my style, and I'm just waiting for the fireworks. It's gonna be a great fight.
All right, and then Brandon, if you could please answer the same question.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like I know Jesse's a former world champion for a reason. He's been in there with best of the best, and that's all I could ask for. You know, just someone that's willing to fight, someone that's willing to give fans a great show, someone that's not gonna be hard to look for, and like he said, it's gonna be fireworks. So I'm just excited. I can't wait. You know, this is something that I've been waiting for almost a year, and you know, I have a great opponent like Jesse for us to give fans a great show, and for me to showcase my skills the same way as he wants to showcase his skills. And you know, we're both hungry. You know, I feel like this layoff really lit that fire in me again to, you know, just want to go out there and make statements, and you know, just win impressively. You know, that's what boxing's all about, is win impressively, impress everyone, and you know, keep getting these big fights. So I just can't wait for May 4th to come, for us to, you know, share the ring and just do what we love to do, is fight and give fans a great show.
All right, perfect. Thank you for that question, Lucas. Last up for this pair of fighters, Ernesto Amador with No Puedes Jugar Boxeo. Ernesto, if you could please unmute yourself, you can ask your questions.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna have one question for Jesse, another one for Brandon, and I will ask in Spanish. Jesse, Ernesto Amador de No Puedes Jugar Boxeo. Un placer saludarte, Jesse. Siento que la gente se equivoca al decir que llegas casi por el cheque. Te vi ganarle a Lorito Doner, conozco tu carrera y además puede ser una de tus últimas oportunidades de título. ¿Qué estás dispuesto a hacer para probarle a la gente que está equivocada contigo?
Pues yo ya sé que la gente se equivocan, dicen cosas de mí, pero está bien. Yo no pienso en eso, yo no pienso que lo que dice la gente. Yo enfoco en lo que estoy haciendo, enfoco en mi entrenamiento. Yo le doy 100% a este deporte, igual a yo solo le doy 100% cada vez que entro al ring, y pues yo estoy aquí listo para pelear contra Figueroa. Yo sé que es un peleador bueno. Yo sé que mucha gente nomás me ve que, nomás está por los cheques. No estoy por los cheques, estoy para hacer mi legacy, para todavía ganar los títulos y pelear por los títulos. Mucha gente que habla así no sabe boxeo, nunca han peleado, nunca ha recibido un golpe o nada de eso. Eso no me importa. Lo que importa es que yo me siento bien, yo estoy listo, y yo sé que con la fe de Dios vamos a salir con la mano alta.
Okay.
So the question was about how Jesse deals with the outside noise, you know, and everything that comes with it. Jesse, me podrías hacer un favor y decir lo mismo que acabo de decir ahora, pero en inglés, para los periodistas en inglés, por favor?
Sí.
Go ahead. He's going to say it in English.
You know, a lot of people overlook me. A lot of people, you know, they doubt me. They say things about me. You know, it's been like that since the beginning of my career. And honestly, I don't care. You know, I don't care what people got to say. As long as I'm dedicated to myself and dedicated to my craft and, you know, my job and what I'm supposed to do. You know, honestly, the people whatever they got to say, it doesn't mean anything to me. You know, I know with my faith with God and all the hard times that I've been through and everything, you know, I'm focused, I'm ready. You know, I didn't get, you know, a good outcome my last fight, but, you know, I'm just ready. Yeah, I know Brandon comes ready. I come ready, you know, and it is what it is. You know, people talk, they've never put on the people that talk, they never put on a pair of gloves. They don't know what it feels like to get in the ring and to, you know, risk your life and, you know, battle it out with another great, you know, a great fighter. And, you know, so with that being said, I don't care what people got to say. I don't care what the critics have to say about me, because at the end of the day, I come ready each and every time. And I want to, you know, just fight for the best, fight against the best, and fight for, you know, all the titles. And that's what we're here to do.
Esta pregunta es para Brandon. Brandon, te saludo con mucho gusto, Ernesto Amador de No Puedes Jugar Boxeo. Brandon, qué gran oportunidad de pelear en una cartelera de Canelo y Munguia. La gente dice que no eres mexicano por tus ojos azules, porque eres de piel blanca. ¿Qué estás dispuesto a hacer para demostrarle al público en una noche tan mexicana que también tienes sangre mexicana en tus venas, Brandon?
Oh, yo sé, ese es uno de las cosas que siempre me dicen, que no soy mexicano. Pues mis padres son nacidos en México, Tamaulipas, en Río Bravo. nos criamos en México, yo tengo la sangre bien, bien pesada. Y no solamente eso, pero pues yo sé que la gente se equivoca. Pero ya el 4 de mayo se van a dar cuenta que yo soy un peleador mexicano, más mexicano que nada. Tengo la sangre bien pesada y yo creo que se van a dar cuenta que soy uno de esos peleadores mexicanos tradicionales que, como uno de los Julio César Chávez, Pepito Cuevas, todos esos peleadores que eran leyenda en México, yo quiero ser uno de ellos, quiero representar a mi país, porque yo creo que sí es mi país, son mis raíces y no solamente eso, pero yo quiero enseñarle a todos que nada más porque tengo los ojos azules, la piel blanca, no significa nada. Yo vengo a pelear y darle a los fans un great show. 4 de mayo va a ser algo espectacular para mí porque yo quiero enseñar cosas nuevas, quiero impresionar a la gente, no solamente eso, pero cargar el nombre de México en mi espalda y representarlo muy bien.
The question was, what's your reaction when people say that they don't see you as Mexican because you're a white guy with blue eyes? Brandon?
No, yeah, I mean, I always get mistaken. Even as a baby, my mom would carry me to cross the border back to her hometown, Rio Bravo, Tamaulipas, and they would always stop her and question her, asking if she had kidnapped an American baby. Because mind you, all my siblings, brown skin, brown eyes, and I was the only one really white complected, dark blue eyes. So, a lot of people would ask her if she would babysit an American family. And to me, that's I don't care about that. I just want people to know me for me, and I carry the Mexican blood deep in me, and I love Mexico. I love my roots, and it kind of does hurt when people don't consider me Mexican, despite my parents, both being born and raised in Mexico, and us being raised in Mexico as well. So I guess I gotta show them May 4th that I'm a traditional Mexican fighter. I come forward, my mindset and my demeanor, everything represents Mexico, and I love my Mexican roots, and I want to represent my Mexican roots, and worldwide. I want to show everyone that I'm an American and Mexican boxer, but I consider myself a little bit more Mexican due to my roots, and I even have an accent. A lot of people say I have an accent, and like I said, I just love carrying Mexico on my back. So yes, I can't wait to showcase that. And a lot of people get impressed on my Spanish, but it's something that's been instilled in me since I was a kid.
All right, Brandon and Jesse,
thank you very so much. Yeah, sorry, Ray. Thank you very much for that, Ernesto, and thank you to both Brandon and Jesse for your time today. With that, I'll turn it back over to Ray.
Thanks so much. We appreciate the time, Brandon and Jesse. Good luck. We'll see you guys during Fight Week in Las Vegas.
Cool. See you guys soon.
All right, now we get to our co-main event, our final matchup that we're going to be dissecting here on this call. It is for the interim WBC welterweight championship of the world. First of all, we want to bring on the challenger, 22 wins, 2 losses, 16 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the younger brother of former 2-division world champion Marcos Maidana. He enters this fight having won 4 straight, looks to make it 5 in a row and become a world champion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Margarita, Santa Fe, Argentina. Here is Fabián TNT Maidana. Fabián, unas palabras para la gente.
Bueno, primero que nada, hola a todos. Y bueno, nada, contento de estar en esta cartelera de Canelo-Munguia y bueno, ser la coestelar de esa noche. Así que nada, contento, feliz y esperando que llegue el 4 de mayo.
Well, first of all, thank you, everyone. And I'm really happy to be a part of this great card, Canelo-Munguia, everything that it represents. And I can't wait until May 4th comes around.
All right, we're going to get to you in a few short moments. Now we want to bring on the champion. He comes to us from San Antonio, Texas, training in Las Vegas, scored a career best victory in his last outing when he was able to drop former world champion Yordenis Ugas twice, en route to a unanimous decision victory. He is a former super lightweight champion of the world and now the reigning and defending interim WBC welterweight champion of the world. He possesses a record of 28 wins, 2 losses, 18 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the always entertaining and the champion, Mario El Azteca Barrios. Mario, how are you?
I'm doing great, brother. You know, happy to be here. Happy to be on. I have this opportunity. Just excited once again.
Mario, you fought on the last Canelo card when he fought Jermell Charlo, but now when celebrating Cinco de Mayo, you're the co-main event against Fabian Maidana. As the main event is Canelo and Munguia. What does this opportunity mean to you? You've been on big cards before, but this one particularly on May 4th.
Yeah, no, it's huge. I'm just very grateful. The last fight, was the first time I had been on the Canelo undercard. And that was an unreal experience. And now I have this opportunity, being the co-main on Cinco de Mayo weekend. That's hard for me to put into words. I'm just like I said, grateful. I'm motivated, I'm focused, and I'm just getting ready for May 4th.
You've accomplished a lot in your career. I remember when you were fighting in the lighter weight classes, on ESPN, and now, you're here at 147, you were a former world champion at 140. Do you feel like a young veteran?
Yeah, I do actually. It's funny because in the gym, Bob Santos will call me a veteran every now and then, and I'm always like, man, dude, like relax. But it's and I've been professional now 10 years. I've started at 126. It's been a long road, but I'm just very happy where things have gone with my career. I've stayed focused. I've stayed grounded. I've kept good people around me, and I think that's the reason why everything has gone this way.
All right, now we're going to talk with the challenger, Fabian. Is this the fight? People mention about how you're the brother of Marcos Maidana, but is this the fight where you're able to step out of his shadow and really sort of cement your status as being your own entity?
¿Sentís que esta es la pelea, Fabián, en la que vas a poder salir de la sombra de tu hermano y dejar de ser el hermano de, para ser Fabián el campeón de? ¿Fabián?
No, bueno, sí, te escuché. No, yo creo que yo hice mi camino, siempre hice mi camino en el boxeo, así que nada, gracias a Dios que me dio esta oportunidad de estar peleando un título del mundo, así que nada, contento, feliz y enfocado en ganarme ese título ese día y demostrar de que estoy hecho.
No, look, I've always made my own way. I've never seen myself as being in the shadow of anybody. And thank God I have this opportunity to be in this great card, to have the chance to fight for the title. And my goal is gonna be to be a champion and showcase my skills on May 4th.
How much confidence do you have having won 4 in a row? You're on a roll here, but the momentum that you feel heading into this matchup against Mario Barrios on May 4th.
¿Qué tan importante es el envión que sentís cuando estás enrachado de esta manera con 4 victorias al hilo? ¿Cómo te ayuda eso de cara a esta pelea?
No, la verdad que esta pelea es diferente a todas, ¿no? Este es un título del mundo, así que estoy muy emocionado. Estamos terminando la preparación acá en Las Vegas. Y nada, contento, feliz de este combate y bueno, ese día darle un buen espectáculo a la gente y poder llevarnos el cinturón para Argentina.
This fight is unlike any other. It's a world title fight, so can't really compare it to the four fights I won before. But what I can tell you is that I want to show up and show out on May 4th, go out there, win the fight, and bring the belt back to Argentina.
All right now I'm going to turn it over to Andrew Roberts from the media. If you have questions, raise your hand and then come out and ask your questions to Mario Barrios and Fabian Maidana. Andrew?
All right, thanks very much, Ray. Our first questions are going to come from Keith Idek with Premier Boxing Champions. Keith, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Thanks, Andrew. My first question is for Mario. Mario, I was just wondering, I know you can't look past Maidana here, but you're heavily favored going into the fight. And I was just wondering if you could tell us what types of fights you hope happen for you later this year assuming you're able to win this fight, maybe potentially Stanionis and Maestre, the winner of that fight, or who else you might be looking at for unification fights?
Yeah, the welterweight division is it's a stacked division. We have a really exciting, welterweight, championship fight, opening up the card, with Maestre and Stanionis, both, tremendous fighters. But yeah, no, looking forward, first, I had to, go in there and handle business, with Fabian, and given everything goes our way, and then how we're planning, then I want, those are those big fights that I want, whether it's a unification fight between the winner, whether it's boots, I want to, just fight the best in the division. I've always, taken, the hardest fights, in my career, and that's exactly what I intend on, continuing.
Thank you, Mario. I just have a question for Fabian as well. Martin, if you could just ask Fabian if he could take us back to when he was supposed to fight your Dennis Ugas on the Spence, when Spence was supposed to fight Pacquiao, and then, of course, he suffered an eye injury of his own. I was just wondering if he could detail to us exactly what the eye injury was. Was it career-threatening? And did he think that maybe he had lost his opportunity? He's obviously fighting for a welterweight title here, but did he think that that opportunity might have passed him by when he got injured before he was supposed to fight Ugas?
Oigan, volvamos en el tiempo a como cuánto, hace un año y medio, cuando Spence y Pacquiao iban a pelear. Bueno, y vos ibas a pelear contra Ugas. Spence tuvo su lesión en el ojo, vos tuviste tu propia lesión en el ojo. Lo que él quiere saber es si tu lesión en el ojo te llegó a amenazar la carrera, si llegaste a pensar en retirarte por esa lesión, y si además pensaste, uy, pucha, me quedé sin la oportunidad de mi vida, quizás que un tren que no va a volver cuando te quedaste sin formar parte de esa cartelera.
Bueno, la verdad que lo que pasó, no sé, solamente Dios sabe y nada, fue un pequeño corte en un sparring, pero nada, sí quedé como diciendo, no, quería pelear esa noche en una gran cartelera también, estaba Manny Pacquiao, Spence, pero bueno, no se dio y se dio ahora, así que por algo pasan las cosas. Y hoy estamos enfrentándonos a Mario Barrios y por el título del mundo. Así que nada, los tiempos de Dios son perfectos y acá estamos para llevarnos ese título.
Yeah, look, the injury itself was a small cut during a sparring session. Did it piss me off? Of course. I mean, I was about to fight in a great card like Spence and Pacquiao, where things happen outside my control. But God willing, everything happened the way it was meant to. And now look at me fighting here in the Canelo-Munguia fight, going for the title against Mario Barrios. So I'm focused on this great opportunity and not dwelling on the past.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you, Keith. Our next question is going to come from Lance Pugmire with Boxing Scene. Lance, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Great. For Mario, I just wanted to ask you, it seems like right now in the welterweight division, the C's are kind of partying when you talk about Crawford, Spence, and Danny Garcia going up to 154. This glamour division has this window for someone to step into and really become the star of the division. Have you considered that, and how thrilled and excited are you about that potential?
I'm very excited. I knew that this year, the welterweight division, was going to be, become very, exciting. There's a lot of things moving around, a lot of things opening up, for opportunities, and and for new champions. And it seems that all of us that are fighting for these titles, that are fighting these title eliminators, we all have the same mentality. We all want to fight the best. We all want to bring boxing the most exciting fights. The unification fights, and so I think by the end of the year, things are going to be even more exciting, and we're going to continue on having those big fights, and I plan on being in the majority of those really big fights.
Great, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Lance. This question is going to come from Goodall with FightHype. Ron, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
All right, awesome. I got a question for each. First and foremost, to Mario Barrios. Congratulations on the news with the new baby girl announcement that's coming. So I'm sure this is going to change a little bit of how you think in camp. But my question for you is that when you think of the Maidana name, right? Obviously, we know that he's been in big fights, specifically Floyd. Are you looking at, his brother kind of the same way? Like he may potentially bring that same type of intensity that was brought to Floyd?
Yeah, no, definitely, if not the same intensity, that same focus, that same drive. How he was saying, he had an opportunity come up beforehand, that fell through, and but now he has another opportunity, so I know he's not taking this fight lightly. I know he's gonna come with everything, and that speaks a lot, on him, the type of fighter that he is, and I could definitely I respect that. Shout out to him, for taking this fight, stepping up. But yeah, I'm expecting, another, hard fight. I'm preparing, myself for, a brutal 12 rounds, regardless, how the fight goes. So, I'm excited.
Awesome, thank you. And to Fabian, I can only imagine that his brother spoke to him about a tough fight against Mario Barrios, who's been a seasoned fighter, who's won his big fights recently. What has his brother told him, in preparation of this fight, if you can reveal?
¿Qué podrías revelar en cuanto a consejos se trata de lo que has hablado con tu hermano, también de lo que él te contó también de su experiencia como pelear en un campeonato mundial en Las Vegas?
No, la verdad que no hay que transmitir mucho. Sé que sabemos que es una gran pelea y que bueno, que hay que dejar todo en el ring y demostrar que ganamos la pelea. Y bueno, como siempre, salir a pelear y a dar todo.
¿Pero él no te dijo nada, Marco? ¿No te dijo nada en particular?
No, me dijo que es una gran pelea y que hay que tirar para ganar. Hay que tirar muchos golpes.
You know what he told me? He was like, this is a great fight, and in order to win great fights, you gotta throw a lot of punches. So, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go out there and, fight like a World Title fight is supposed to be fought. With all my heart, with all my grit, and going out there to show that, that the Maidana name is still up high there.
All right. Thanks very much for those questions. Next up, Carolina T. Please unmute yourself and you can ask your questions.
I have two questions for Mario. Mario, you said you kept good people around you. Are there any particular fighters, trainers, etc., that are specifically based out of San Antonio that you've leaned on mentally during training camp? And if so, what advice have they given you?
Yeah, I mean, I kept the same team from the very beginning. But all the coaches and everybody, from back home, that I have always, kept around, been around, all the fighters, my good homies, Bam Rodriguez, Josh Franco, and there's so many names. But yeah, we all, we all keep in touch with each other, we all, are still, behind each other, 100%. And I'm very grateful, that San Antonio has, that close knit, boxing community. But yeah, kept the same people behind me, and yeah, I know, I still have their support and everything. So I mean, that means a lot to me.
And I know they're supporting you. Have they given you any particular advice? And then I have one last question.
Nothing particular, they just, always give me their support. I know if I ever need anything, I can reach out. So that's the important part.
Okay. And also congratulations on your bundle of joy. I know you are preparing for this fight, but are you prepared to be a dad?
I think I'm prepared, or I'm doing my best, to be prepared. But thank you for the congratulations. You know, I'm looking forward, you know, to this fight. You know, I'm looking forward to being a father, you know, later this year. But you know, first things first, you know, I had to go out there, you know, May 4th and take care of business.
All right. Thanks for those questions, Carolina. Our last questions for today are going to come from Ernesto Amador with No Puedes Cigar Boxeo. Ernesto, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Thank you, Andrew. Let me start with Fabián. Fabián, un gusto verte, querido. Qué difícil ha sido tu carrera a pesar de tu apellido. La gente cree que porque te apellidas Maidana han sido las cosas fáciles. Todo lo que se ha cruzado en tu camino te hace ser la versión más peligrosa del TNT Maidana para esta pelea.
Sí, bueno, la verdad que la gente compara, pero no, o sea, mi hermano fue un grande y lo admiro mucho, pero bueno, nosotros estamos forjando nuestro camino y nada, venimos bien preparados, ¿no? Tuvimos una carrera dura y bueno, gracias a Dios hoy se dio esta oportunidad contra Mario Barrios y pelear el título del mundo, así que nada, venimos con toda la fe, bien preparados y a dar una batalla para poder ganar ese cinturón.
The question from Ernesto was, well, it was more of a statement at first where he was like, the Maidana name, people may think that, you know, it made things easy for the younger brother, but it hasn't been the case at all. His career has been tough. What has that meant for him in trying to forge his own path? And, you know, Fabian was saying that, you know, like my brother, he was a boxing great and I admire him, but I forged my own way. Proudly so, and now I'm gonna go out there on May 4th and put up a battle that, you know, that people are gonna enjoy, put on a show, and then, you know, hopefully be able to be remembered for what I do, and, you know, to be able to forge my own legacy.
Finally, Mario, nice to see you. It's not about Mario anymore. It's not about Mario's food anymore. It's about your family food. It makes you hungry than ever, you know, because now it's not about you anymore. It makes you hungry.
Yeah, no, you know, 100%. I'm excited, you know, I have I'm very motivated, you know, now, you know, how you said it's more than just me, you know, now, you know, I'm getting ready, you know, to, you know, have a daughter, you know, have a family. And, so yeah, you know, it's a different kind of motivation. And, you know, I'm just, you know, I'm excited, you know, to go out there, you know, Cinco de Mayo weekend. It's a big weekend, you know, for our Mexican people, our gente. And, you know, I'm looking forward, you know, to giving everybody another great show.
All right, great. Thank you for that, Ernesto, and thank you to all the media that joined us today. We also obviously appreciate you, Mario and Fabian, for your time. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Ray to get closing comments from the fighters.
All right, thank you very much. Fabian Maidana, Saturday, May 4th for the interim WBC Welterweight Championship of the World, the co-main event of Canelo-Munguia that comes our way on Prime Video. It is PBC pay-per-view. You can also purchase it at DAZN.com. What is the result going to be against Mario Barrios, Fabian?
Bueno, Fabián, danos un vaticinio. ¿Cómo termina la pelea contra Barrios?
No, la verdad que no te puedo decir nada, solo sé que va a ser una guerra y va a ganar el mejor ese día.
I can't tell you how it's gonna end. All I know is that it's gonna be a war and that the best man is gonna end up winning that night.
Mario, for you, I know you're fighting with extra added motivation as you spoke about at length, but how's it going to go down on Saturday, May 4th?
I think it's gonna be, you know, a really exciting fight. You know, I know, you know, Maidana, you know, he's coming with it. You know, he's hungry, and you know, we're gonna give fans, you know, a great fight. And you know how he said, you know, best man is gonna have their hand raised. But I'm gonna do, you know, whatever it takes, you know, to make sure that's me.
All right. Thank you very much to all the fighters. We greatly appreciate it. And we will see you on Saturday, May 4th, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific time. It is PBC pay-per-view on Prime Video. Canelo Alvarez, Jaime Munguia for the Super Middleweight Championship of the World. Also a loaded card, including Mario Barrios and Fabian Maidana. Have a great rest of your afternoon, everybody. Take care.
All right. Let's get right back. So that was our first collective group chat as a virtual Zoom press conference right there. So as you can see, just a little bit, just kind of getting you guys involved. That's what it looks like on my end. I get an email, I sign up, I log in, we do the virtual, slide some questions in, and then that's it. So in the future with these virtual Zooms, I want to get you guys involved and have you guys part of it, right? Maybe we can do like a chat, you know, a popular chat question that instead of me asking a question that's off the top of my head for like, you know, a typical headline or just, you know, a question that I assume the fans want to know, I can get you guys involved so that instead of me assuming, you guys actually tell me directly in here. So do you like that? You know, this is a smaller virtual Zoom. Obviously, I think they'll probably do for bigger stuff like we did one with like Crawford Spence back then. But just in general, even then, I can probably get interviews and maybe I can drop them on here. We just do live interviews on here so that the chat's involved versus just getting the interview dropped on a random Monday or Sunday. So I don't know. I'm open, you know. I think it's a better way of doing content, right? And get you guys involved. I did read a lot of the chat while I was going in, and even when we do these virtual Zooms, you can always at me and just be like, yo, ask them this, ask them that. I do have like a side channel, which is like another channel that I have. It's called FightHype in there. That's me talking. So granted, you can talk to that, and we can just do that. So anyone who just came in after, I appreciate you guys jumping in. So just a recap, it definitely seems like there's a couple fights on the card that they're trying to set up, right? The winner of Mario Barrios and Maidana's brother Fabian versus Gabriel Mastre and Emmanuel Stanionis. They might be on a collision course for a potential unification fight, which makes sense, right? They're both PBC fighters or PBC friendly fighters, and they're willing to work with Al. And that might set up for a huge showdown, especially if they both win their fights. Brandon Figueroa obviously wanted the Ray Vargas fight. Nick Ball in a controversial fight with Ray Vargas. They might do a rematch. So it's Jesse Magdaleno is not the ideal fight that we want to see Brandon Figueroa, right? And I want to say like I held back some questions, but I should be seeing Mario Barrios and Brandon Figueroa in person myself sometime because they do train out here in Bob Santos' gym. So I'm gonna make time to go see them and give them more of an in-depth interview. So if there is questions, you can always reference back here and give me some ideas. But I'm gonna touch a lot of the stuff with them. Obviously, I want to talk about Brandon about Stephen Fulton rematch, maybe an Iowa Inoue. He did beat Neary, and Neary is fighting Inoue, so get his thoughts on that. Mario Barrios, maybe his thoughts on Boots signing a match and the realistic. Is that realistic? And why didn't those fights happen, right? When Boots was underneath Showtime and was very PBC friendly, why did that fight never happen? And now it's on Matchroom. If he has any insight. So he might be able to give us a little bit more detail on the Boots signing with Matchroom. And and then I'll try to also get Bob Santos because it's in his gym. So sometime I think next week I'm gonna set that up and we'll get that all broken. But it's really like one of those cards where you can see how the style matchups are. They're kind of more of an action-packed come forward, right? Canelo versus Munguia, Maidana's brother versus Mario Barrios, Brandon Figueroa, and Jesse Magdaleno. Like, these guys get busy. And so because of it, I'm assuming that the styles aren't going to be just kind of a boxing match, more of a fight. A lot of punches being thrown. And, for, May 4th, you want a tough showdown with a lot of action, especially I think someone mentioned that because Canelo isn't fighting David Benavidez, it's probably best for us to kind of at least get an entertaining card. Like the last PBC Amazon card wasn't like full of stars, right? But it was completely action-packed from front end. And as like a product, not a marketable product, right? Like this is the biggest card ever. But as a boxing fan, if that was your first time watching PBC on Amazon and you had a very entertaining item, knockouts and action-packed punching, this is a good segue card to go into it. But eventually, we do want Canelo versus David Benavidez, and hopefully, some of these fights on this card, maybe Mario Barrios and Stanionis might be a fight on, right? If they get past their opponent, on Canelo versus David Benavidez, which would be a great fight. Personally, you get a unification for a welterweight division after it's been dominated by Crawford and Spence for some time. But right now we got to focus on Canelo-Munguia, and it's going to be an action-packed fight. So I'm just going to go through the chat, and we had a big chat earlier about J. Cole backing out on the Kendrick Lamar stuff. So I did read all that, and we're just kind of going to a little bit more up with the chat, up to date. Maidana had a stone cold face. That fight will be worthy. Yeah, Fabian, look, there's a theme. You're Argentinian, you're a top-ranked Argentinian fighter, you come to America, nobody really knows much about you. The thing, we can always assume that you're gonna throw a lot of punches, you're gonna come at you, and you punch hard. So I expect that to be an entertaining fight. I don't think Cold Hands want that rematch. Canelo wins by decision. I'm left from back. What's up, Hernandez? Appreciate you coming back, man. Who cares about Benavidez? Canelo stays active, my man. And you know what? At least that's the important part, right? If we're not getting a David Benavidez fight and a Munguia fight, I'm not gonna hate on it. Like, a Munguia fight is a good, stay busy fight. And I think that fight's been building, if not the same amount or longer. So this is a fight we've kind of had to have. So I'm not mad at it. I just, hopefully, because I feel that David might pose the biggest threat, but maybe that's the fight where Canelo shuts all the haters up and stamps his legacy that you said Triple G was the boogeyman, I beat him. You said David Benavidez the boogeyman, I beat him. You said I want to fight Lara, I beat him. So maybe, right? We'll see, and hopefully we'll get that fight. I wish Amazon had a lower price point, especially for Amazon Prime. I wish all pay-per-view fights weren't pay-per-view, right? But that's how you have to pay these fighters. So we want, come on, now Canelo can't satisfy you, or what? I'm always gonna watch all the fights. So, I mean, there's obviously gonna be critics, right? If you fight this guy, you're ducking this guy. If you beat this guy easy, he wasn't that good. You know, there's always a rhetoric for every fight. So, if you're in defense of Canelo, I agree with you, right? Canelo's been boxing professionally at a young age, and he's been in the ring with some Hall of Fame fighters already. So, the Amazon boxing pay-per-view are too much. Too much as in price? Because if so, yeah. I mean, it'd be dope. They had like an Amazon Prime discount, right? You have the Prime, you get a discount. So, Crawford and Canelo need to retire. They're getting to that point. So they're just kind of like at the tail end of their careers and making the last, fight. So, but I don't see Crawford fighting any much longer soon. How is Amazon going to win against the zone prices? I'm gonna buy the cheaper, which is more likely the zone. Has the prices came out, like, between the two? And if so, then I agree with you, Hernandez. If the zone is cheaper, go get the zone. Like, why pay more? But somehow they have a deal, and they all make money throughout it. So it doesn't really matter where you buy it. You can buy it on pay-per-view.com, Canelo fight be over 100 seems fair to me. I mean, that's what boxing's at, right? I'm looking forward to Stan returning, right? It's very disappointing because I was looking forward to that fight with Virgil Ortiz. I mean, I think everybody was really looking at that fight as a 50-50 fight. Even if you had a favorite, a fight that can help solidify each one having a genuinely good resume win. And we never got that. So, and it sucks because it keeps one person inactive and keeps the other inactive. And, now they have to play catch up for all that time. True, brother. Yeah, I appreciate it. Brandon would never use his length, but I hope he improved. Brandon Figueroa is a very talented fighter, and there's fights where he benefits from that brawl style, but sometimes when he fights certain fighters, he might need to use his reach. Stephen Fulton's the prime example of a guy he needed to bully, use his size and his weight, and people were torn on that decision. So, fire stick. I feel a lot of people might fire stick, it's expensive. So, I'm not going to encourage it, right? But it is very expensive. How much does zone pay-per-view with subscription? I'm not sure. I think they usually do, like, when you are subscribed, they deduct the subscription fee out of the pay-per-view. So let's say it's like $89.99. But if you own the zone, then you get it at like a $69.99. So you would have to own the zone. So you'll still dish out the same amount of money, but you'll get, I guess, what they consider a better value, which is it is if you get a subscription. But so if Amazon does something like that, we have an Amazon subscription and you get a discount, then you'll get the kind of the equivalent value of that, and that would be dope. Fire stick. It's a lot of fire sticks in here. There's a lot of fire sticks. I wish Crawford fought more frequently. I think he wastes a lot of prime years. You know, Comic Legends, I have the same agreement and testament as like a fan, right? And maybe there's some fault to him not playing with the politics, or maybe it's no fault of his own because of the politics, right? And he's been having a lot of years where he's only fought one time, 1 year, minus the Spence and David Avenesian. I think within 12 months he's fought twice, but a lot of times he fought in December at the end of each year, and I don't know if that had anything to do with Top Rank's budget. I don't know if that's where he felt comfortable fighting. I don't know if it had to do with venue. But I feel like Terrence Crawford's one of those fighters where, because he wasn't in a lot of marquee fights and a consistent base, and like the Spence fight felt like the big hurrah, I think that it's unfortunate because a fighter that talented and that good is going to either be underappreciated or be viewed overrated because the fact that he didn't fight the fights when he was able to or wanted to for the fans to please him. While certain business decisions may have led certain things not happening, and Spence was a fighter who was able to kind of get a lot of those more fights. I mean, he almost got Manny Pacquiao, right? And if he was able to secure a marquee win over Pacquiao, especially a stoppage, you know, you're talking about another level of fandom. So I know that Crawford stayed with Top Rank, and a lot of things seem like, hey, Pacquiao's over here, and maybe I can get these fights, or I'm seeing Wilder and Fury or making cross-promotional fights, and you know, they're taking care of me too, right? So there's certain things where it's like, I can't just leave a promotional company if they're X, Y, and Z. So I just feel that in this era of boxing, because there's so many different promoters and so many different networks, that things become very fragmented. Like, think of it like once upon a time there was one piece of land and every continent was together, and you don't need boats. You just literally travel across land. And now, because of the continents being separated, not saying this is what I believe, right? I don't want you guys to come down like, oh, Ron thought the world. I'm just giving an analogy. That is fragmented. So now it's a lot more difficult to get from like Africa to Asia or America, because now you have to have other obstacles. You need a boat or a plane or certain stuff. So that's what boxing is. And when fighters are separated with so many different promoters and networks, you know, it kind of creates opportunities for certain fighters to look great and certain fighters not to have that same opportunity. So, and I agree. I do feel that Crawford could have been a lot more lucrative fights, and we could have really been able to appreciate him more in his prime. And that's just unfortunately boxing. Like, I feel like Boots Ennis is kind of in a situation where he had a promoter who, I don't know, I don't want to get in details because I can't say I know everything, but you know, promoters and signing exclusives to networks but not to promoters have may have prevented certain things from happening. And his recent sign to Matchroom Boxing has now raised more eyebrows. Like, what do you have over there that's going to get you to be more marketable and be, you know, performing in your prime? So the Matchroom stuff is very similar to what Crawford, right? Because if you look at it, the landscape of welterweights mostly in PBC or PBC friendly. And you got this exceptional fighter that people believe in on another promoter network deal, and you question, how does these fights get made, right? So if you were born in the United States, you are American. If you were born in Mexico, you're Mexican. If your parents were born in okay, we're doing this. If you were Mexican and your parents were born in USA, you're an American with Latino heritage. I agree, right? I mean, that's how it is. I was born in America. I'm Black and Korean, a little bit Native American. So I'm an American at the end of the day, but my heritage is Black and Korean and Cherokee, Native American. Exactly. Ryan, April 20. Yeah, next week. And so next week, we're gonna do like a watch party, right? I might do something like a 10 or 15 hour watch party. So all day, we'll kick it, we'll chill, we'll talk boxing, we'll watch all the undercards, and just kind of be there for everything. So if there's a moment where you're just watching the fight, yeah, nobody to talk to, right? You're just chilling, you're watching, and none of your friends watch boxing. They're watching basketball or whatever, and you're like, yo, I need some people to talk to. I'll probably try to maybe set up like a call-in segment, you know, for Saturday. So just come in here, right? Just chat with the boys, you know what I mean? You know, you can come and chat with me. You know, we're obviously gonna have tons of content we're gonna break down throughout the week, from press conference, the weigh-in, to even the post-conference reactions after the fight. So it'll be all going down here, and you'll see me work live. Like, I'll probably be working on videos live, so you guys will get to see what I'm doing, you know, in real time. So April 20th, lock that in. If you ain't got nobody to kick it with, to talk to, or if you just want to vibe, right? Just come in here and just see the chat. He didn't beat Lara, ha ha ha. On paper, he beat Lara. My personal opinion, I thought it was a close fight. I thought Lara edged it out. I have not seen that fight for so long, so please don't ask me about the details. But I do remember that a lot of people thought Lara won that fight. So, but the respect is, he did fight him, right? And I know the biggest criticism that Lara had, and it looks like, I think I got Hernandez up, is that he's saying Lara gave up, which a lot of people compare the performance that Floyd did with Canelo and what Lara did, is that Floyd didn't essentially box and kind of what some people felt was retreat, right? And so Floyd kind of stood his ground more and fought, and he decisively won those rounds. So because of that, I think when you see Lara's performance, you can get a mixed feeling of like, is he actually boxing, you know, or is he actually running, or is Canelo doing effective aggression that may have him on his bike? And that was the torn debate between that. So I definitely understand why people feel that Canelo won that fight. You know, just my opinion, which long time ago, I personally favor the boxers a little bit more, but that also could be a detriment, because when a boxer's just not being able to box, that might go against my opinion. Just like the Richardson-Hitchens fight, Gustavo Lemos, I might have scored that fight really close, right? And because I might favor the boxer, I might edge Hitchens. But at the same time, I also kind of looked at it and I was questioning a lot, like, is Hitchens in a lot more trouble than I'm giving him? So I had that fight as a draw, but either or. So, but like I said, at the end, Canelo fought Lara when he probably shouldn't. And I give him props for that. Because nobody was saying that, yo, you should fight Lara on the business side. Boots is behind for sure. I agree. All that mixture is a Mexican. You're one of us, yeah. I mean, that's what I always heard, that Mexican descent has always been a mixture of multiple different things, like, you know, from a little bit Asian, things like that. So, and I'm part Cherokee, right? So we got the Aztecs and Native. So I got love for everybody, right? I'm essentially a mutt, so I don't really get into the race stuff because I can empathize for a lot of stuff. I even have a little Irish in me too, so you know, that kills some of that narrative as well. Awesome. Ron, what do you think about the recent talks about Matiz and Pitbull? I mean, do you think the fight is going to get made, is what you're asking? I don't think the fight gets made anytime soon. But do I like the fight? Do I think that's probably the most explosive cultural clash, you know, because of the Mexican-Puerto Rican rivalry that goes on? I mean, I think as a boxing fan, it's almost a beautiful story, right? You got two guys that literally are parallel, where they come from very humble beginnings, extremely humble beginnings. Matiz is getting shot by, I thought he was like in Puerto Rico or something, like by like an AK or something, and having to like survive bullet wounds and things like that. And Pitbull, who extremely humble backgrounds. If you saw the documentaries from the Tank fight and the Rolly Romero fight, that, you know, they couldn't even afford a tortilla to feed, you know, the whole family with, you know, like, so these guys have worked extremely hard to get here, and these guys have also taken losses, and their fan base are still behind them. They don't have the atypical undefeated fighter, looks flash and always 100% performance. What they do notice is that these guys come to fight, they are gritty, they perform knockouts, they put their heart on the line, they put their country on their back. I mean, at the end of the day, that is probably one of the most modern day gladiator fights that we can get. And I think that there's a mutual respect that they both had, because I can't see them talking trash to each other, but more bringing an essence of just pride that they are just better than that fighter in that fight. So when and if that fight ever happens, I think every boxing fan of all types would tune in. Will it reach the casual level of Ryan Garcia and Tank? Probably not, but I think that these two guys have been in some sort of great performances that have allowed them to give the boxing world this fantasy and this image in their mind of probably essence of the most badass fight that you could possibly get. And if we can get that fight, I want to go to that fight, and it better be here in Vegas, damn it. So, but either or, an amazing fight. I think that fight is the essence of boxing, purely. Blood, carnage, and heart. Sorry if that was a long answer. I know we're all proud, but the ethnicity card is kind of annoying. Wasn't that popular back in the days? It was just fight who cares. You know, when you speak as a genuine boxing fan, I agree, right? And a lot of this stuff comes through marketing, right? I mean, why does fights have to be so big on Cinco de Mayo with Mexican fighters, right? But there is reasons, and a lot of stuff is based off pride and celebratory essence in there, right? So, am I the biggest fan where you have to use race or ethnicity to sell an event? No, but as I had this long rant about Matias and Pitbull, there's a part of it where you can recognize it and not be, how would I see, have any type of malicious intent, right? The card, I think, is more an idea of a representation of pride, right? And because of it, there's a lot of pride involved, and I know that not every culture and every race, and I speak, you know, from like my black side, is that we don't have like a Juneteenth card. We don't have Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford on Martin Luther King Day for our pride. Like, I get it. So I can understand that there's a lot of mixed feelings in that. So it can be a little annoying when that stuff is put out there, but you have to just sometimes just accept that the world has its own type of reality, and that we're just living in it, and we just have to kind of accept things for what they are in a positive light and try to be more optimistic. But if we can have in a perfect world that fights happen at any time, the best fight the best, and it doesn't matter specifically how the day is marketed and everyone is a universal world, then I agree. I agree with that 1000%. What's your thoughts on boxing advancing in terms of judging? I think there has been too many awful decisions by judges in the past. Should there be an AI that calculates the punches and winner? You know, I've always been very traditional, right? And it doesn't mean that it's right. It's more maybe it's a comfort level. I think that's what makes boxing, right? The drama, right? That I think Larry Merchant mentioned, it's the theater of the unexpected, right? And part of the essence of boxing, and it's terrible, right? Because there's a lot of rivalries involved. But what makes boxing is the judges. And you hear about it all the time. And the only unfortunate thing is that we wish we can get fair judging or popular opinion judging. Judging's subjective, right? So we enter AI to calculate the punches. There's a few things that we have to look into it. AI is a robot. So robots have glitches all the time. They're not perfect like human beings. And someone has to program the AI with a subjective, that means an opinion-based thought on what is a good shot and what's not, right? We can all agree that what an effective punch looks like, but that's still an opinion. And if there's someone that feels that certain punches aren't being effective, or how do you measure if this guy lands 5 good jabs and this guy lands an amazingly good hook that kind of wobbles him for a second? Does that negate the 5-10 jabs? I.e. like Lomachenko, Devin Haney. Do you value body shots more than headshots? How do you measure the pressure of what performs? Those was a bigger power punch. So I don't think we'll ever get a conclusion to this, and I think that it's just kind of where we're at. And it's kind of like, because the sport revolves around so much about an opinion, we're always going to have debate. You know, there's no concrete thing outside of a pure knockout 10 count. And even 10 counts can be somewhat subjective because you're kind of going 1, 2, 3, or you could be like 1, 2, 3. So unless there's some sort of AI to maybe fix the long counts maybe, but I don't know. And that's going to be a forever long thing. But am I a fan of those type of judges? I mean, I'm not. No, my bad. I'm saying that people want to see it. Oh, I mean, duh. Everybody wants to see it. I was passionate about it. So, I mean, I'm Mexican. I look white with green eyes with a Mexican ass name. See, so you can't, and I'm sure that you went through your own type of sort of like form of self-discrimination of your own, because they looked at you different. So really at the end of the day, like, we shouldn't emphasize on race, you know, we should understand that we're all at some point come from the same place, and that's like the human race. I sound like Tio, right? That sounds crazy, right? Because people say stuff he be saying is crazy, but no, yeah, we are just one. So well said. I can see a trilogy for that fight. If we get a trilogy of Matias and Pitbull, I want to be at 1, 2, 3, all of them, and the exhibition when they're old, right? June 15th, Tank vs. Martin, Benavides versus Moro is more bang for your buck. I like that fight a little bit more, but I might be a sucker for more marquee names, right? That's a marquee name, right? There's more marketable names. You got Gervonta Tank Davis versus Frank Martin. You got a storyline right there. They've sparred, you know what I mean? Should be interesting. But it's tough because like Munguia is like a former world champion. And so like that Canelo versus Munguia is champion versus former champion. And then I know 154, but Benavidez Alexander is a very good fight because you got David going up to 175 to test the waters. They've definitely this. You know what? This might be called the sparring card because both fights have sparred each other. David has sparred Alexander, and Tank versus Frank has sparred each other. And then Demetrius Andrade versus Morrell. I didn't read that at the end. I'm sorry. High voltage. Great fight. Great fight. It's like a crossroad fight and an introduction fight, right? Because Boo Boo loses that fight. You know, he's kind of like starting to enter a position where he might not be able to get in bigger fights. And David Morrell could be a breakout fight because you can now have a comparison that if David did this, what can Morrell do to it? But it's either the fight is too green for Morrell or the fight is too much for Demetrius, and maybe 168 is just not your weight, buddy. So, but I mean, I'm gonna support that. I'm gonna support both cards, right? So I'm gonna watch both. I'm a boxing degenerate. I noticed it as a good part of promotion. I honestly don't care, but some commentators go a little too hard. Excellent explain. You're a really good analyst. I appreciate it. I mean, I don't really think I consider myself an analyst. I'm just giving you my authentic stuff. So I just want to let you know that this is just who I am, right? So, and I'm very politically safe in this new world that the world has created. So I'm just tiptoeing around certain topics, but that's actually how I feel though. It's not a bullshit response, as some people would say. Great take. You kind of like kind of like Steven versus Brandon fight. Hard to judge, but cold hands definitely had cleaner shots. You mean Cool Boy? I think that's why I was confused when you said cold hands. Cool Boy, but yeah, I like cold hands, right? Yeah, that was very close, right? Because I favor boxers more, I'm gonna be a little bit more biased. And a lot of people won't on record go and say, I'm biased, right? They won't go and say, I am biased. A lot of people like to say, I like to keep it real. I like to keep it objective. No shots, right? But we like what we like. And so I can't fault someone if they like the aggressive fighter and they see certain things that will favor them of who's winning the fight, because it's subjective, right? I tend to favor more of boxers, clean, flush shots. The fighters I grew up admiring and watching and enjoying have influenced me to have more of a biased perspective. And I try my best to be objective and fair, but you can't be objective when when you judge a fight, you use your own opinion, your own subjective opinion of what you like. So in reality, when fights are close, I don't call them a robbery, and I like to say, hey, the fight could have went either or. Now, if I feel a guy dominated the fight in my own perspective, which is really hard to even see another point, that's when I might start screaming a little bit more like unfair decision, blind judges, and stuff like that. But if it's a fight's really nitpick, you know, and that's why I really don't get into judging anymore. I used to be the guy who used to do the 12-round scorecards, but when you really go down to it, you're really just picking what you like. So as crazy as the majority of the people think that Lomachenko won the fight, and I was at the fight, I thought Devin Haney won the fight, which I immediately recognized that I was in the minority opinion. And I really appreciated the body shots a lot. And I recognized the headshots that Lomachenko was going, but I was trying not to just allow headshots to influence me as that those outweighed more than body shots, because you can visibly see a head snap back. Great headshots, very close competitive fight. The fight could have went either or, and I believe that. But how do you judge headshots and effective body shots equally the same? You kind of have to pick what you like, and for what you like comes to a biased perspective. So anytime anyone says I'm not biased, that's full of shit, because you are biased. So we're all biased, and I'm never afraid to say I'm biased here. So I will always keep it real as in what I feel, but understand that that's just my opinion and it's not the gospel. So another long rant, I'm sorry. Y'all get me all going in. The AI would say that Shakur ran 10 miles in this boxing fight, right? So I didn't really score that fight, but in my just kind of watching the fight, which please don't take this for oh, this is. I just naturally felt Shakur just had the better performance. I mean, outperformed De Los Santos. It wasn't much to kind of grade it off. It was very close because of it. But yeah, how do you program that, right? AI would say Shakur is not putting any effective aggression. It's not a lot of punches. If they landed the same amount of punches, then how do you score who won the fight? Especially if none of them was like strong, effective power punching. So that could have affected that outcome of that fight. So Canelo fans can't box. That's just throwing shade at them. Who do you like, Carlos? I think you can't just base a book by its cover, right? You know, I think you can't base a book. I mean, I wouldn't want to box 90% of the people who step in the ring, period, because they got a different grit, you know? They do not need to give out more draws, though. I think it would be better for boxing with more rematch clauses. I think rematch clauses would be dope, right? But you got to understand there's a business behind it. And so the business is to get that fighter past that and not go again, unless that fight makes a lot of money. So if that rematch causes a lot of money, because sometimes rematch clauses like the Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford fight, I think people have felt that fight wouldn't have done good business because the fact that it was so one-sided. Would you want a rematch? And so sometimes, I think maybe, do you think we should have a 15th or 13th round, right? Because they used to do 15 rounds, right? What up, Red? Appreciate you always coming in and showing love, man. Shakur, he was scared too. You know, if I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, right? Because I've covered Shakur for quite some time. I think Shakur is an exceptional fighter in this era of fighters that he's compared to, right? His contemporaries and him, I don't think, are too far from each other. But of course, they haven't fought each other. And I like to give people the benefit of the doubt that they have off nights, right? A lot of times people could look at certain fights and go, hey, you know, there could have been some other stuff that's going in their mind or certain stuff. And not saying that that's an excuse, right? But I think because Shakur didn't satisfy the fans on a big night when Andre Ward and Terrence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather shows up and it's the T-Mobile Arena, he's going in his third division and he's coming off the attention of like, oh, him and Devin Haney going back and forth. You know, those are the moments where you have to capitalize, right? And everything that happens in your life, you know, can fall on that particular night. And you have to understand that happens to those top premier fighters. So it's not ideal for it to happen all the time with the top fighters, but when it does, it really is damaging. And so I think for Shakur, we should give him another opportunity, right? I'm not quick to criticize because I've seen some dud performances from a lot of fighters, right? And then they come around and win the fight and look so much better than they're supposed to, right? So realistically, like, I don't know if that's even a word. It's just being realistic, you know, it's boxing and you're only as good as your last fight. And if Shakur Stevenson was able to get an opportunity to fight one of these big names and win by a dominating fashion, I think the De Los Santos fight would always be there, but it would add credibility to De Los Santos because Shakur has now overcame that and fought someone that you want to see, right? So I'm going to give Shakur time, and if he shows a pattern, then I can be a lot more critical. So should they give point reduction for running and not gauging? Well, that's subjective again, right? What do you consider running? Some people might consider running as just effective boxing. I'm not going to stand here and get hit. You're not going to just lay on me and punch me and uppercut me. My inside game ain't better than yours. I got a longer reach. I got a good jab. I know how to feint and move. I got better legs. I'm not going to sit in the corner, you know? I'm going to turn you. That's part of my strategy. So, it's subjective. And I think when you are a real boxing fan, you can tell when someone's boxing or someone's not wanting to engage. When they don't engage, the first thing you question is, are they scared or are they injured? So, John Ryder did not fight very well last fight. He looked a lot better against Canelo. I agree. Definitely not you, thank God. And I don't want to say this is the end-all be-all. When a fighter loses, like, they're worse every time. I am a firm believer that when a fighter loses a fight, they get a little bit worse, right? Physically. But they get a little bit better experience-wise. So John Ryder experienced that. I mean, the experience of being with Canelo, it might have been, he leveled up. But fighting Munguia, might have been a fight where after taking a tough fight with Canelo, because he went down, he almost looked like he was about to get stopped at a point. He took that fight, a lot of punishment, and then goes to Munguia, who's a fighter who dishes out punishment. And physically, he might have not been able to recover. So ideally, this fighter might have been perfect for Munguia to look good against. Plus, lastly, styles make fights, right? Because Canelo is, he picks his shots very strong, and it might have been a style thing. And maybe Canelo, I don't want to give this as an excuse, right? I'm just giving all different type of perspectives, right? Maybe there was a point where Canelo maybe just didn't get up for the Munguia fight, right? He fought in Mexico, maybe he was distracted once again, like the Shakur thing. Maybe there's certain things in that particular fight that didn't resonate, and it will resonate in this fight, where Munguia, the John Ryder fight, did resonate, and it brought the best Munguia. Maybe that was the best version of Munguia, and Canelo brought like a lesser version. But regardless of what it is, that is still good enough to beat a guy Canelo didn't stop in that fashion to warrant a fight. And I think that May 4th should be a fun fight as a boxing fan, because it's going to be rock and sock 'em. What's your thoughts on round by round open scoring? So if you ever watch amateur boxing, I don't know if you have, but I'm assuming that you might have, but there's a lot of open scoring in amateur fighting. And so if you ever take the time to go back and watch some amateur fights, they do open scoring. And open scoring does one thing. It holds the judges accountable, right? Because they know that people are watching them round by round, not just towards the end, and they just wave their hand like, that was my scorecard. But it does change the outcome of the fight, right? If you're in a 5-round amateur fight and you're down 2 rounds on the scorecards and everybody, and there's 3, that might influence you to not fight the way you normally fight, and you might come out a lot more aggressive. Panic. Look for a knockout. Maybe you're a great boxer and you don't know how to come forward, so you put yourself in a position where you might get knocked out because you're rushing, you're desperate. So that can openly affect how fights are played out for the good and the bad, right? Maybe that is what people need, right? Oh, if I knew if the judges had me behind, I would have did something about it, yada, 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 I thought I was winning the fight, right? It could probably prevent a lot more of that. But once again, it just goes back to boxing. Boxing creates this drama. And I'm not saying that this is the best for sport, but is what I'm used to and what I'm accustomed to. So that is usually more in a state where the unknown, you never know what the judge is going to bring at the end. The drama, the suspense at the end of reading the scorecards, right? So, but open scoring does give a lot more extra motivation to Comic Legends. I do agree. And then the answer is never leave it to the judges. In a perfect world, if you can get them out, you can get them out. Bro, actually, that's a better solution to what's been going on. Half or extra round. Yeah, see? Because now, it doesn't prevent draws, I think, because you can still get like point deduction. I don't know how the math works out, like if there's things that happen. But by giving an extra round, it can add a 7-6 scenario, right? So, thanks. 1-5 Porcupine. Well, look, I don't know how long I've been on, but once again, these are things we're just building up these lives, right? Eventually these lives will go from a couple hundred to maybe a couple thousand, to maybe a couple 10,000s, right? So it is 1:54 my time, and I'm actually gonna go out to the gyms, and there's this guy out in Vegas. I don't know if you guys seen this guy named Lonnie B. He's a former fighter, and he does great, breakdowns, and his opinions kind of resonate with a lot of fans. So I'm gonna go out and see Lonnie B out here at the DLX gym to kind of give some takes about the Richardson-Hitchin fight, boot siding with Matchroom, and some other topics that have been kind of in boxing, right? He's been very vocal and critical of a lot of stuff about David Benavidez and supportive of certain stuff, like him going at 175. So I might ask him about some recent stuff about David Benavidez, holding accountability, and I'll post them up today. I'll sprinkle them out. But like I said, I really appreciate you guys just coming in here. This is just a whole new thing. This is very new to me, to hold down a show and just rock with you guys, right? So we'll definitely try to keep these going. We're gonna have a lot of topics. We're gonna have a lot of breaking news stories, fight night coverage. I'll definitely try my best. But like I said, I appreciate you guys rocking with me. Ron Goodall, FightHype.com. This is my social media on Twitter, Instagram. I don't use it, but I'll probably use it. Maybe I'll start using it next week, right? So, Eddie Hearn paid Dora $30,000 for boots. What do you mean, Dora? Wait, did they announce his opponent or something? Did I miss something today? What do you mean by that? Hey, Dora. I don't know what you mean by that. Dora. Okay. I see there's a crypto named Dora, and I know Dora the Explorer. I don't know. Just let me know in the comments, and the next time you come around. Eddie Hearn paid Dora. All right, but I'm out. I'm gonna get some interviews. I'm gonna shout you guys out right here. Appreciate you, Warren Porcupine, Woods. Definitely not you. Thank God, Thomas, Red, Carlos, Marky Love, New York Bullet, Hernandez, Gonzalez, Hi, Comics Legends. Let's see who's been around. Highness, Queso, Brandon Turner, Nico, the Angry Casual Fan, Dwayne Styles, Luis Martinez. I mean, there's Fast Car, Eddie Hearns, Mr. Quake, Michael Winchler. I think I said Jose Hernandez, Marcus B, Roy 14, my boy Alex, Callie the Kid, Dwayne Styles, MS, Illuminati, all through your body like a 12 gauge shotty. I couldn't help it. I had to say it. Edits 2X, Franklin from the Grove Street, Sergio Uno, KB2481, Joe Oliver 3rd. I just skimmed up, so I'm sorry if I might have skimmed past you. Marky Love, what's up, brother? Ron Goodall. Salute, Red. Yo, I appreciate you guys. So, like I said, I'm just building on it. So when you see Fight Hypes live, you know, I know that there's this love for my boy Sean. Sean went into another direction. So, you know, if you want to go out and support him, he's doing his thing. So, but for right now, if you see Fight Hype live, it's going to be your boy right here, Ron, and I'll be holding it down for you guys, and I'll try to produce the best content for you guys. But other than that, you guys have a good night, a good day. I might be back if there's a good topic, right? I'm always can come back when there's some breaking news. But you guys have a good day. I'll get these interviews out, and peace.